Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of Action Toon Bros. I'm your co-host, Ben Sturgeon.
And I'm your other co-host, Matthew Lewis.
And today is a very special day because a year later, and we can finally get to this episode, which I've been looking forward to for so long.
Hell yeah, dude. A set of episodes I've watched a dozen times over the past feels like 2 years
Yeah,
now.
it feels like an eternity. And speaking of an eternity, obviously we're doing good because we have guests on our show. Yeah. And no, this is not over Discord like the last time.
Thank goodness.
And with us is, Action Toon Bros veteran and very good friend of ours, Chris Bow.
Hey, howdy doody, everyone, and listeners and all of that. Just how's it going?
Dope. And our other guest is, of course, as we always will never forget, the guy who was totally right about the Season 2 finale and has been on a number of episodes, and my co-host from Movie Garbage, Ed Bobinchek.
What's up, y'all? Wait, this is an episode of Movie Garbage? We're not doing that today? Gosh. All right, I think I'm in the wrong place, guys.
Wait, bye. Wait, I thought it was his show, not yours.
Well, he's the host. I'm the co-host on that.
Yeah, you said my co-host on Movie
co-host
Garbage.
as an equal host. But yeah, it's his show.
Yeah.
It's his show.
Either way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm maybe the head host, but he does all the editing, so...
Yeah, of course.
That is true, yeah.
As you can hear, Ed's having a little bit of voice trouble, but that will not stop him from being awesome in this episode.
Indeed.
I will probably be talking my voice into nothingness, so...
Oh, Lord, please no. Please, we need your voice. But for me, on the other hand... You don't need my voice because it's the final 4 episodes of Legend of Korra. Not the final 4 episodes of X season. No, the last 4 episodes at all. And oh boy.
Yeah, it is.
Boy.
It is a crazy batch of episodes.
Well then,
and it cements that Korra is the better avatar than Aang.
Oh yeah. Well,
Boom,
Oh, yeah.
getting controversial right at the beginning.
Hey,
right off the top.
Truth bomb, man. Well, let's get started on. Man, what episode of season 4 is it?
Episode 10.
Episode 10. Operation Beifong.
The last time.
Beifong.
Thanks, Ben.
Operation Oh Dark.
Starts the last time explains about the spirit vine harvesting that Kuvira was doing, pretty much mostly. It starts with Bolin and Opal doing a rescue op, trying to rescue the rest of the Beifong family. Sue's part, anyway. They land on a snotty bison. Bolin wants Opal back. Hey,
don't make fun of Juicy that way.
Oh, nasty ass bison.
Right.
Bolin wants Opal back and keeps trying to be all sweet talking with her. But Lin is just like, I'm so sick of you two on the flight over here. Just shut up.
Right. And then as they land, they're trying to, they look over Sao Fu, which apparently is where everything's going down. Kuvira has a whole battalion there. All of the domes are taken off for some reason, which we don't know yet.
Yeah.
And so Lin's like, okay, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down there and get a closer look. And that's when my girl Toph comes in and says, nope. Yeah. You can't do it. They already moved the prisoners.
They give a very terse "Hey, Chief," and she goes "Hey, Chief" to each other. Lin and Toph, very, very tumultuous still. Mm-hmm. And of course, Bolin fangirls over Toph, as anybody would.
He was so good.
Oh my goodness!
And Toph continues to be a Starky badass, even as she's like over 100 years old now.
She has to be pretty old.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Toph has been spying on Sao Fu from the vines. That she realized. They're like, how do you know this was happening? He's like, I was spying through the vines. And Bolin's like, okay, well, it makes sense to me.
Well, I mean, then again, he's had Cora's done it, so. Of course he's
she
going to be
says she says there is a prison camp we need to find. Bolin asks if the entire they're very mean to Bolin, all of them, and then he kind of asks Opal, like, Opal, this whole thing isn't hereditary, is it? This whole mean personality.
Yeah, and of course there's a few times when Toph's like, dude, look at this bison, it's worse than Appa.
Yeah, so I thought Appa was nasty.
Every second I looked at him, I just really wanted to be like, Opal, give him a goddamn tissue, come on!
Yeah, wipe that nose off that thing.
Yeah, but after all of that happens and they actually go start to look for this prison camp, we go back to Republic City, where President Raiko is telling Korra and Tenzin and a whole bunch of others like Prince Wu, Varric, that they need to take really big measures to make sure Republic City is safe.
Yeah, Varric wants to make a flying suit, but Raiko wants to harvest spirit vine energy.
And Raiko's the worst.
Raiko continues to be terrible.
Yes, he does.
Korra explains that that would just cause more issues. That's a terrible idea. Korra wants to convince the spirits to help, and Prince Wu wants to get the citizens out of there as fast as possible.
Wait, what? Prince Wu's actually doing something sensible?
Yeah, right?
What?
He's being nice and noble. Wow, what a great thing. He steps outside with Mako and immediately is just like, yeah, man, I'm going to date Korra. She loves nice guy stuff. Like,
Yeah,
being
all
a
the
piece
nice
of crap
stuff.
immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah,
Oh, Wu.
I feel like these were the episodes where Raiko like was actually like a decent guy. Like I'll be honest, I haven't watched Korra since I finished the series like a year or two ago, and like I was watching these last 4 episodes and thinking like, wow, Raiko is actually kind of cool. I don't know.
Setting the bar kind of low for decent individual, are we?
Honestly, I don't think Raiko has any real redeeming qualities at all.
Yeah, I'm with you on that
I
one.
think he's a very important figure that like gives kind of a different opinion on what to do occasionally, but he is exclusively a dickhead.
He is. I mean, he's like... He got power because of the Equalists, and then he proceeds to be like
Yeah, very
the
proud how
worst.
he was voted in.
Well, just hear me out, okay? Listen. So Raiko, I mean, I agree. Like from what I remember of Raiko prior to the final 4 episodes of the last season, I remember him being a dickhead. But I feel like in these 4 episodes, he actually like starts to listen to people and like actually delegate with good ideas.
I mean,
it's a surprising turning point, much like Wu being a good person.
I agree with you. It does look like he's listening to people, but there's still one major factor you keep forgetting, Chris.
What?
And that is he's only doing it for the city, like for the protection of the city and his own hide.
Well,
At least that's the way I took
I'm gonna
it.
say we'll get into that later with when he actually becomes back into the plot from now on. But this is when we cut to one of my favorite side characters, Batar Jr. He is prepping the laser with Julie. The beam doesn't work, and they can't seem to shut it down. But Batar successfully deactivates it himself and sees that the weird disc has been sabotaged. I like Batar Jr. a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why. He's an
pretty
interesting
good.
character.
Oh yeah, it's nice to see someone do some like another Varric character almost.
Yeah.
He's
Also,
like the anti Varric.
The Beifong family ride on Juicy the bison, and Toph is very blasé about Lin and Sue being super cool with each other now. And Lin's just like, I hate you so much, Mom.
Tensions rise in the Beifong family.
Yeah, in the laser factory, in the flash camp.
Oh, that's right. And then Top's like Lynn, I can hear your anger like, seething from your mouth. If you have something to say to me, fucking say it.
Yeah, I love that their relationship is so interesting.
It really is.
I keep calling it a laser in my damn notes as opposed to the spirit mind weapon or whatever. I just say laser.
Let's be real. It is a
factory.
laser. It's a laser. Yep, the laser factory.
The camp, they both sense it out, and they sense that the cavern is underground. Kuvira shows up while they're trying to test with a bunch of mechs to inspect the laser.
You know what I thought, by the way, when I saw those mechs again? I thought, wow, they were really proud of those assets they made back in season 1.
Why would not reuse them?
They're reused every single season.
It's also bizarre
They really are,
they
yeah.
got so many of them. The Earth Kingdom forces.
But like they used them in season 2.
They invented them in season 1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like
How did the water trap?
Wait,
How did the water trap ever get them? Never was
yeah,
explained.
the Udalak's got his own down in the South Pole. Why?
Wait, which assets? The
mechs.
The mechs.
Oh,
Yeah, the mechs that are like, the ones on the weird treads that are in every single season for some reason.
Every single force
and
has
then
them.
like their
Yeah.
giant suits that like people wear or like
Yeah.
jump inside.
Well,
Yeah.
The
I
claw
mean,
suits.
then again,
Future Industries.
Future Industries, Asami's
Yeah,
dad
yeah, they-
had a lot of connections.
I think in season 2, at some point, they vaguely mentioned that a Future Industries thing was taken by water
That's right.
vendors out of the city, but that was like after they've been using those mechs for a while.
Right, yeah,
But
yeah.
then I have no idea Kuvira. But I guess they're metal benders. They could probably. I think they're mid platinum.
There are many platinum.
But
I
they
do
could
remember
make
that
them more
actually
efficient.
because they want to steal all of Future Industries stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Varric did that, so I don't know how the Northern Water Tribe got
I think
them.
Varric was like vague. Wasn't he at one point helping both sides to like fund the war to make it like so he make money at one
Well,
point?
no, he was just trying to like steal the stuff and pull a fast one to make it look like the North
false
was
flag.
attacking them. Right, it was a false flag attack.
yeah, well, we're getting off subject. For
We're
a
gonna
little
keep.
bit.
Well, this episode we're gonna keep doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right, we are.
Yeah, Kuvira wants to see a demo of the weapon.
And of course, Batar Jr.'s like, yeah, except for there's a lot of complications going on. I don't know how it's going to, but don't worry, it'll get up and running in no time. And that's when Kuvira looks at Julie in a very suspicious way.
She's like, what do you think? She's like, well, I think we could maybe get it working. This is when we come back to the spy group with Opal Bolin and them. Opal says we got to take out Kuvira, like kill her. Bolin's like, no, we need to stop the laser. And of course, Toph's like, I don't care about any of that crap. I just want to save my daughter.
Yep. Best mom right there. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Bolin thinks up a plan. He's like, man, she's like, okay, you're gonna do that. We'll do this. And like, man, my head hurts from thinking so hard.
Yeah, this is the episode where Bolin actually had to take charge in some way.
Yeah,
I mean, then again, he was trying to get out of the
that's
doghouse, but
MO for Bolin. I don't know.
Yeah. When he comes up with the plan, he's just goofy most of the time. Whenever he actually is smart, he's like, hey, good job.
And then we cut back over to Republic City, where Korra goes to the spirit world and tries to say, hey, I need your guys' help. And of course, the spirits are like, "Whoa, dude, no, you can't get us involved. That just means you're just like Kuvira,
Yeah, and she's like, "What are you talking about? I need your help. He's gonna take all your spirit energy." And it's like, nope, and they disappear. Very unhelpfully.
When that was happening,
spirits to do things to help in a human war. That's exactly what Kuvira is doing. Like, how do you not see that? It's stupid.
Well, see, here's the thing. At least Korra was going over there and was asking politely. It's not like Kuvira, who would have been like, "Do it, or else I'll find a way to kill a spirit."
Yeah, well, she probably could.
Yeah, let's be real. Yeah,
back in the other group, Bolin talks about metal bending, how he's like, I can't do it, and then she says, well, any idiot can learn metal bending. I had an academy, referencing the metal bending comic where she first starts the training session.
The school.
Yeah, Lynn is very snide about Bolin. She's like very like, oh god, whatever, mom, you're such a pain in the butt. And Bolin's like, hey, I have some questions. Who's Lynn's dad? And then she like gets real pissed about it.
But, that's right, because we don't know who Lynn's dad is.
Well, we do. We learned that Lynn's dad is a rando named Kanto. Toph was like, he was a nice guy, but it didn't work out. It's just a very flat and very like.
That was not the guy in the comics, was it? That
I don't remember. I don't remember the
Yeah.
comic, but also I was gonna say, before this, I watched a couple things about reading up on facts about Korra, and like literally when Lynn was first shown, like literally the first time she was shown in the panel at Comic-Con. Everyone, and she found out she was a Beifong. Everyone in the audience started screaming, "Who's her daddy? Who's her daddy?" Like literally, first thing anyone wants to know is exactly that. And I love the final season, fourth season. We finally find out it's a rando. That Toph was like, "Whatever, man." It's just like, of course.
I mean, with that context, it feels like an anticlimactic addressing of the question, but at least they addressed it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then again, let's be real. It was Toph answering the question.
Yeah.
What makes you think it was going to be this big climactic thing?
Well, can we swear? We're swearing, right?
We already have.
So basically, that question and answer was basically a big fuck you to everybody asking who is Lynn's daddy.
Pretty much.
And then, but I was gonna say I don't think we ever find out who Sue's dad is.
Nope.
Of course, it's heavily fanon that it could be Sokka. Could have been Sokka.
It could have been. I mean, it
could have been. Given her personality,
wouldn't that be something?
Could have been Aang. Who fucked those?
Yeah.
Could have been Aang.
Oh, Sue was a half sister, right?
Yeah, they're half sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then of course after
Lynn and Toph argue more, but Toph is very distant, and Lynn doesn't want to talk to her after this mission. I never want to see you again, she says to her.
Yep. And then we go back to Kuvira and Batar at the laser factory.
Yeah, the laser demonstration.
It's a laser factory. That's what we're calling it now.
It's aimed at a town when the infiltration of the other Beifong group's infiltration begins. At an underground, we see the family is in an underground suspended wooden prison, and they decide to launch Lynn at the family, like at the thing to try to get it. They hide from a guard while Lynn swings the family to safety out of the wooden prison. It's very cool. Kuvira addresses the army about the strength of the Earth Kingdom and how they're going to be an Earth Empire, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Oh, great! Because no Earth leader has ever done that before.
Has there been a uniter? The great uniter like Kuvira?
Well, no, I mean, like, the whole, like, we're not just the Earth Kingdom anymore, we're the Earth, because that's what the Earth Queen was like.
She was never that competent.
Not competent, no, but that's what she would do. That was her thing, too. I'm like, come on, guys.
Well, yeah, but she was just the queen of what's it called.
Also, can we address that's like okay, so one of the four nations decides they are the best nation and decides to spread their joy, quote unquote, to the entire rest of the world because they are the best and everyone has to follow under the rule. We totally haven't seen that before in a prior series at all.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. First off, every Avatar has to deal with that. Korra had to deal with it twice. She had to deal with the South Pole and now the Earth. The Earth Federation or whatever.
Empire.
Yeah, Empire. Yeah,
but this time I'm on their side.
Of course you are, because Kuvira is completely right.
Yeah, and Earth is best, and Kuvira is a dope character.
That's right.
And as we all know, everything changed when the Earth Empire attacked.
Yeah.
Everything changed when the Earth Empire attacked. And of course, after Kuvira's talking about all of that, she gets to talk to Julie.
Oh no, she fires a laser.
Oh, that's right. First is the
and
laser.
it malfunctions again. It's been sabotaged. It's missing a part.
Oh no!
Yeah,
a pin's been pulled.
Yeah, she asks Julie, "Have you seen the piece anywhere?" And she's like, "No, I haven't seen it anywhere." And of course, she just like metal bends it out of her shirt.
Well, you guys missed earlier at one point. They had asked Julie a question about her undying loyalty and everything. And Toph, and she answers, and Toph's like, "She's lying."
Oh yeah, and Bolin's like, "Oh," and that's why they decided they need to possibly rescue her too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is a very important detail.
And this is when Kuvira says, "Put her in the target town." Just like, woof, damn.
Yeah.
This was also a very big, like, Mai versus Zula moment where Julie was like, my love more than I hate you.
Yeah.
Basically.
B'Etar is a little bit, hesitant about this, but then he is, of course, flung out by Lin and beaten up. He makes a bunch of drawing the guards. Oh yeah, they're down at the B'Etar Senior. I said back at the other group of the people being swung out of the building. B'Etar Senior is too much of a wussy to be flung out of the wooden prison by Lin, and he makes a bunch of screaming noises and alerts the guards.
Good job,
Yep.
man.
Good job, B'Etar Senior.
Yep, Kuvira sends more guards, but they still want to launch the laser. While the guards are all leaving, that's when Opal tells them that Julie is being held in the city. Bolin says they gotta save her. Opal takes the bison, and this is when Lin and Sue want to take out Kuvira. Toph says, "No thanks, I'm gonna stay here with B'Etar Senior and my emo grandson." This is when we cut back to Cora again. Meditating in the spirit world, we see that she goes to the spirit world to see what the issue is. She tries to convince them. This is when she tries to convince them to top her, actually. Before she was just meditating and she didn't. Yeah, she didn't.
Oh, right, it was meditation.
This is the scene, yeah, we were out of order.
Yeah,
they say she's no different than Kuvira, and that's when they go back to the laser.
Back to the laser.
Junior, everyone just Junior sees Opal and says, "Well, we gotta stop the explosion." And then this is when Sue and Lin attack with the knocking the laser out, of course, and it's a huge giant beam that just blows a hole in a mountain behind the city.
And it was like, oh damn.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. Seeing the full power of that laser.
Yeah, it's crazy. Really cool. This is when we get in a very awesome fight with the Beifongs fighting Kuvira, who is doing damn well herself too. She really is holding off Sue. Sue and Kuvira have an amazing metal bending fight with tons of sword fighting and slashing and all. It was so good.
Also, the twins were, I feel like, underrated in this.
Yeah, they were doing some really heavy lifting. They knocking the tanks out and stuff. They were really, really cool.
Wait, which twins?
Sue's kids.
Yeah, Sue's kids.
Oh, she had twins, and then the emo kid, and then also
B'Etar Junior,
and Opal. Yep.
Yeah,
honestly, all of the Beifong kids that are not B'Etar Jr. No. Hear me out. They all have a very good moment in this.
Well, not really. The emo one doesn't do anything.
He does nothing.
Oh no! Was the emo one even there?
He was there. He was hiding back with the dad, and then.
Well, I actually forgot that he was there.
We forgot the good line about when B'Etar Senior is just like, "Oh, how are you doing, Mom?" To Toph, he's like, "I told you not to call me that."
You never call me that.
God, I love her. She's great.
She is.
Let's see. Kuvira gets the upper hand in the fight, and they get surrounded. And this is when, of course, Toph is just like, all right, let me just whoop, then knocks everybody out.
Earthquake, boom. And then, and then after all that,
she says Kuvira gives Metal Bendis a bad name, and Kuvira just kind of looks on like, I disagree.
I highly disagree with that.
Sue and Lin thank Toph, and she apologizes for treating the two of them so poorly.
Yep, and then we also get Julie, who was saved, by the way, in that whole mess, who's like, hey, Opal, don't be too hard on Bolin. His heart was in the right spot, even if his mind wasn't. And of course, Opal's like, don't worry, he's out of the doghouse.
Yeah.
And everyone was like,
a polar bear doghouse.
Yeah. Polar bear
yes, sorry, he's like, polar bear doghouse.
Toph explains that, like, hey, we could really use your help in taking out Kuvira and the rest of the season. And she's like, no, man, I'm too old for this. You gotta leave it to the young kids. That initially turns to the camera. That's why Katara stayed out of season 2. You just gotta leave it to the kids.
Leave it to the kids, and then she leaves.
Yep, and this is when we end with Julie thanking them for the rescue and says Kuvira plans on attacking Republic City in 2 weeks.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that is the end of the first episode. Do you have any topic specific? Because I wanted to talk about Toph's personality.
You're the topic guy.
As this part in her life, Last time we had kind of a bit of an argument at the beginning of the season about, like, does this feel like you were, Ed, requesting if it felt like Toph, like, originally or not. I think that this is entirely 100% still in her character from when she was in Avatar as a very brash, hardly caring, relaxed person who was also, like, did what she needed to, but she was very dismissive of, like, a lot of people and a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you think about her?
I don't remember what I said back then.
No, I mean, now what do you think about Toph's personality now from this episode?
It's complicated because I felt like back then she was the same brash and all that, but she cared enough about what she was doing, and it's hard to say because she's at the point, like she said, you got to leave it to the kids, and she's dismissive of things, but she also, I feel like I don't know.
She's a sad character because she's always... It's like her aloofness. I remember she always would make like offhand jokes and like really be aloof back in the original series about not really caring too much about any situation. And I think they really carried off, but like unfortunately as an adult, mishandling the, growing up of her kids, kind of a little bit fumbling that. And her personality resulted in them behaving both the way they both do, but like for better or worse. And her now being perceived as more of like not sad, but like a deeper character now. That she's just what do you guys think of her, like, Toph's personality now regarding how she was before?
I mean, it makes sense, too, especially because, like, the big thing was she grew up in a household that was so strict and so rule-oriented that she was going to do the opposite for her kids, and it caused a major issue, especially when one of them kind of wanted to follow the rules with Lynn, and Sue was the more rebel.
And she was still she was indifferent to both of their, like, personality turnouts, which was very bad for both. Oh, it was bad for Lynn, turned out whatever for Sue. But, like, yeah. What do you think, Ben?
Well, what do I think?
Yeah.
Where do I begin? Just the fact that, like, all of this, we got to see the Beifongs actually, like, working together more than usual. And, of course, my girl Toph.
Of course.
My girl Toph was in it. And so, she was the same as always, like you guys were just talking about. Yeah, she was brash. Yeah, she was still as, like, put off, like, whatever, as she was as a kid. But we actually got to see a more sincere, sweeter side as well, because, she's not good at the whole emotion thing.
Yeah.
So, of course, she's going to be like, put off, whatever, and then at the end, But then, we actually got to see something with that laser. We finally get to see we finally get to see more and more of Kuvira's spirit weapon and how that's going. And my biggest worry has been about Julie. I literally thought she was just like, screw you, Eric. I'm actually joining them. I'm like, don't do a Bolin.
That was my second talking point about Julie's turn. Ben, since you're the one I've never seen before, did you see that coming, or were you? How was your feeling?
Okay, so I have this weird thing when I watch a series for the first time. Even if it's like, oh my goodness, you saw this coming from a mile away, I don't catch it because I'm kind of in the moment when it comes to series. So no, I didn't see it coming. And then when I saw, Kuvira's like, oh, Julie, how dare you take the bit? I'm like, it's like everything just rushed in. I'm like, oh yeah, she's a good guy.
I had that moment, that like the minute that the Toph was like, she's lying, and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
It was so great, and I really want to get to these next episodes because these are, don't get me wrong. First Avatar: The Last Airbender, that season finale with the Sozin's Comet.
Yeah, we'll talk about the season finale.
But what we're coming up to here, there's so much to talk about. Speaking of which, unless there's anything else you'd like to...
I have one final thought.
Okay, yeah, what's up?
So, refresh my memory, because I want to say that, like, in the episode or two where they actually get into Sue and Lynn's backstory, where they actually, like, show, like, flashbacks to when they were kids, and, like, I think Sue got in trouble for, like, stealing some shit or whatever, or blowing shit up, and then they're in the room with Toph, who's like listening, or like who's like hearing about this and is presumably going to get punishment, and then she just like doesn't, and then Lynn's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
But my point is, like, what's interesting is that, like, we see Toph as a kid in Avatar and as a grandma in these episodes, or just like in this series, and she has a similar personality. She's like kind of carefree, just kind of does what she wants and what she feels like, and has her own values and sticks to them. But in those flashbacks, when she's like more of just like a young-ish adult, she seems more serious to me.
Well, she was literally the chief of the police, so she kind of had to be.
She was acting more as her job role.
Yeah, but
Right,
also
yeah.
she was. But the issue with that scene was that she just said, "All right, Sue, you were with a gang, you stole some stuff, whatever. Go live with your grandparents for a little bit." And then was like, "She's not going to get punished for this. This is insane." That was back in character for her being very aloof, but very like, "Yeah, whatever. I'll break the rules because I need to." Send my daughter off to live with her grandparents. No punishment for her. And it's just like Lynn. That was like the big split with Lynn's like, you don't treat her the same, and like I'm trying to be like you, and you don't care. And she's like, that was a really good scene about that. I'm talking about like you never cared about anything, and she's just like, hey, shut up, don't get stressed, Lynn.
Hey, shut up. I actually picture her saying that.
But we spent all day talking about Toph because this is her last appearance in the season, right, or in the series right now. But we do need to get to the finale. This episode is going to be like 4 hours long. Episode 11,
Kuvira's
Gambit. Why would you say it off, Ben?
Hey, your timing is
Kuvira's
off
Gambit.
today.
Dang it.
Gambit. Oh.
The last time is about the rescue of Opal and them from the town, and also the big laser attack coming soon to the city. Also, the flying mecha suits, which were offhandedly mentioned by Varric. Opens on Zaofu, and Kuvira is giving a speech on the Earth Empire. All the soldiers, I don't know what that, like weird undercuts, like our friend right now.
Oh, hail the great uniter!
Yeah.
But yeah, and of course, we finally get to...
Oh, we see the radio speech of hers going around the city, going to various troops, and just when she mentions the comic about the fire colony. Oh yeah,
Yep.
she mentions Republic. Yeah, she especially addresses Aang and Zuko taking that fire colony and that was on the Earth Kingdom and making it into Republic City, which is a really good comic I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was a good comic because after I read those comics, I'm like, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah, but she says that is Earth Empire territory and we're going to take it back.
Yep. And first Republic City, then the world. We haven't heard that in this series at all.
Yep, the All Hail the Great Uniter, and this is when she cuts back and we see she can't wait to get married to Bataar Jr. And I was like, that is a really sweet scene of her and Bataar Jr. immediately after her crazy Empire speech about taking over the planet. I enjoyed
it depends on what details you look at.
Oh yeah.
Well, because my big detail that I saw where I'm just like, was Bataar Jr.'s like, I love you, and then she's like, I couldn't have done this without you. I'm like, excuse me, the answer is I love you too. It's like,
hey, man.
Anyway,
she's busy.
Real sweet moment between Bataar Jr. and not Hitler.
Hey, don't make fun of Kuvira. She is absolutely 110% right.
Matt, what do you think about Kuvira?
Man, I don't know. I'm kind of I fucking love Kuvira. She's great.
She makes you moist.
So we did it last time. Yeah, cream squeezely. We went over that last time.
Meanwhile, back at Republic City.
Yeah, Wu says that only 18 families have managed to get out of the evacuation because it is involuntary. Bolin interrupts and says, Reiko's like, why are you always busting into my meetings, dude? He explains, you have 2 weeks, there's going to be an attack. Crazy stuff's happening. Everyone get it together. Cora says, we're going to cut the rail so she can't get into the city and make the evacuation mandatory.
And
Bolin, or Varric, is busy.
Yeah, Varric's busy doing his thing. But this is actually, I think, when we get another good Wu moment because they're in the communications room, and all of a sudden it's like,
oh no,
wait,
that's
that is later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now it's Varric is busy, but Bolin shows up and says, I have a present for you, Julie.
And all of a sudden Varric's just like you can definitely tell Varric is like really broken up about this. And of course, Julie's like, I'm really sorry for hurting you. I'm really sorry for everything I did. And I'm just like, okay, finally a sweet tender moment with Varric and Julie. And immediately Varric does what Varric does best: ruin the moment. Apology accepted. And he's like being Varric again, but this time, other than taking it like Julie always does, no, she actually gets back at him and is just like, no, I was gone for all this time. No, I can't just put up with this anymore. And even Bolin is just like looking at Varric like, dude, the fuck, man.
What'd you do, man? Come on.
Like, if we're gonna work together, I'm not your assistant anymore. We're gonna be equals. Like, way to fucking stand up for yourself, Julie.
Right.
Kudos.
And she stomps out, and Varric's just like, I don't know.
Varric's just like, wait, was it something I said?
Yeah. This is when we got Mako in the station giving the alert phone call saying, hey everyone, there's going to be an attack. Now, follow your manuals to how to evacuate properly. And immediately...
It's Mako being Mako.
Yeah,
Mako is the worst.
the phone company starts, the phone lines are just blowing up with people like, what the hell's happening? Oh my god, what's going on? And this is when Wu finally does the actual good thing. He takes over and calms everyone down. a speech about how fearful he was and how he couldn't go to the bathroom by himself.
Hey.
And says, but we're Republic City. We're not a bunch of losers, right? We're winners. And they're like, yeah, we are the winners.
And after Wu did all of that, being...
I was going to say, a montage of rando background characters we've seen over the series, too. Yeah.
Oh, of course,
like, the hobo and the weird background yellow shirt guy.
Yep, which we haven't mentioned in a long time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Can we address... Oh, I love that little bit with the hobo. Can we address that? Okay, so Wu was like grab your friends, grab your family, grab your neighbor from down the street, grab that hobo off the side of the road, and get out of here. But in that scene, right? So the hobo's there eating fish, and then the police officer shows up, and then the hobo grabs the officer, and then they both run off.
Yes.
How cool was that?
That was amazing.
Subversion of expectations in just a couple of seconds. I love it.
Yeah, it was so wonderful.
And for the first time ever, I actually had respect for Wu, because after he said all of that, he didn't turn the Mako and be like, I'm doing it for the girls, I'm doing it for the girls. No, he actually was just like, yep, this is it. Now the evacuation's gonna be a lot easier now. I'm like, dude, Wu, redemption arc.
No thirst in this boy.
Yeah. Tenzin is, we've seen with the family, he sent the baby away, but the rest of the family wants to stay and fight. It says Kuvira will rue, or Milo, of course, like, Kuvira will rue the day she messed with Milo. And this is when we see everyone's favorite, most competent army, the United Forces, are coming to help. Admiral Iroh's at the lead.
Wait. Who? Admiral who?
Iroh, we've seen him before.
Yeah, in season 2.
Yeah, season 1 and 2, yeah.
Yeah, 1 and 2. Where was he then? Where was he throughout the entire thing? Anyway, questions for later.
Yeah, as the Earth fleet
moves... He was so helpful he was the Red Lotus, right?
Of course, yeah.
I think they would have all died if they faced the Red Lotus.
Let's be real, yeah.
We see a quick shot of the Earth fleet moving in on land as well. Raiko is sent to Air Temple Island, and Team Avatar wants to take out the laser by themselves. Oh boy, it's going to pick up.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's fine. At night, we see the forces around the city spot Kuvira's army approaching a week early, and of course, they see a giant goddamn mech suit.
or, as I like to call it, Kuvira has an Ava.
I said a Gundam, but it is also, very Ava design for lines.
It's tall, it's lanky, it's oh my goodness, Kuvira has a giant mech.
Holy shit, yeah, that giant fucking laser robot. Good God.
Who saw that coming?
Seriously, who did see that coming?
I know. We see it, the poster, we gotta warn the people they try to call, and we see the laser just completely take out the mountain.
Yeah, and
killing all those people inside, which is insane.
See, I like how Kuvira utilizes it, because all we saw was a literal cannon on the ground just shooting. No, Kuvira has this thing attached to her wrist, just pew, pew.
Yeah, I'm about to say, the mechanics of this robot, it physically looks like an Ava without a head. But but I was going to say also, the way it moves and how slow and clunky it is reminds me of Big O.
Yes!
Finally, I think a little bit Gurren.
Gurren's way too, smooth and
maybe like Gurren. What was it? That one beast man who
you're talking about, I think his name is a Viraj or something like that. His mech with the weird Shogun look to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name. It kind of does have a little bit of
same kind of design. I mean, the Gurren Lagann series, some of those Beastmen, the taller ones, have that smoother design.
Mm-hmm. This is when we see the team spot the forces the next morning, and Mako's confused because there's no tracks. How are they moving forward on land? And then they see the mech suit.
Yeah, and then they see the mech.
And then the mech sees them.
Yep, Kuvira spots the bison, and I said, like a Gundam pilot with just lasers it out of the sky into their position.
Yeah, pretty much.
They barely dodge the beam, and Kuvira says, no one can stop them now. Tenzin and Raiko get the news, and Kuvira says the mech is over 25 stories tall. And I'm like, wait a second, that's insanely huge, because Optimus Prime is about 3 stories tall, and the average Gundam is only about 4.5 to 6 meters tall. So that's
maybe we're looking at this differently. Maybe we need to switch stories to meters and make this like Attack on Titan, right?
Who knows? But yeah, that's insanely massive. I was curious.
It really is. Yeah, it is giant. And of course, as all of this is happening, as they're like, okay, you know what, we need to evacuate, we need to get out of here, kind of thing.
Yeah, Asami wants to get the fly suits ready, and Raiko's just like, Lin, you need to come with me to, Air Temple Island. The air nomads land on the outer building to spot the army approaching. And we also see the armies at the bottom, all the different nations of the United Forces, not being very helpful, of course. They see the mech around a mountain approaching the city, And their tiny little pitiful battalion looks like embarrassing compared to what they're coming with.
Oh, yeah.
Kuvira won't stand down and fires at the city, blowing up multiple United Forces boats. Of course.
Of course.
As a demo, right? Just
Yeah,
so surrender or stand down. If you don't believe me, watch this. Meow. Your boats are gone now.
Yeah, literally, like an anime, just like, line, kaboom, boom, boom. And, of course, Kuvira's like, look at us. Look at this, look at you. Now look at me, now look at you. We are not you. So you have two options. Like Chris said, stand down or be destroyed.
Yep.
And Raikou.
She aims the cannon down at their little pitiful fleet at the bottom there, and of course...
And Raikou, in his greatest moment of standing firm, bravely surrenders the city. Let's be real. Going with what you said, Chris, that's the most sensible decision he's actually made.
Yeah.
He knows he couldn't have won,
Legit,
so he does. He's like, I'm done.
I'll give him credit. Yeah, that was the decision to make. He saved so many lives.
Absolutely.
Also, I found it kind of funny how it was like, it's like summon General Iroh, get the ships. It's like, hi Iroh, meow, laser, bye Iroh. we see, like, Iroh I think we had a total of like maybe 30 seconds of screen time.
I don't think he has any lines even in this episode. But Kuvira says, hand over your entire army and the Avatar. And I feel like, I literally just said that. And then, of course, Iroh tells Korra to flee. And Bataar Jr. says, this is over. You guys are done.
you guys be dead.
Oh, yeah. The whole gang hides in the factory while Julie says she didn't know anything about this mech, which I'm like, how?
Yeah, I was going to say, really, I mean, yeah, they hinted at it, but how can you, like, not show the makings of a 25-story tall mech?
Yeah, it's insane. But
apparently that's why Kuvira is the greatest, because she was able to do that.
Yeah, this is when Korra says, I have a plan, we're going to kidnap Bataar, and Tenzin's like, yeah, I'm in.
Well, they questioned, like, how do we stop this thing?
Yeah,
they thought,
it's impossible.
the only people who know is Bataar Jr., and like, oh, wait a minute, he knows how to stop it.
Oh.
So let's kidnap him and make him tell us.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect plan. I did like it. Like, Tenzin wasn't like, now let's go with the peaceful. No, he's just like, fuck it, I'm in. Let's do this.
For the reverse Aang.
Yeah, pretty much.
The whole gang and the air people are ready to go, but they say Milo has to stay back because he's too farty.
Yep, that happened.
Yeah, that was a
And
conversation.
this is when they join us the crazy stealth mission. The air gang and Korra hop on the airship and take out some guards very easily. The airship that Bataar is on. He's going
They
to...
don't really take out any guards, do they?
I don't
Because
think
no one even
No,
know.
not really.
Yeah, they
I thought there was like one or two. They're like when they're coming down. So I thought there was like one or two guys they take out before heading into.
No,
this
no,
room,
they
right?
passed by and then they just snuck by him.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because that plays into later.
Oh wait, Boomy and Tenzin. Oh yeah, they quickly grab Bataar and gag him really easily, and then they just head out. He says Kuvira. Well, Bataar when he's captured says Kuvira's gonna get you all, and Korra's just like, oh yeah, well tell us how the giant's weakness, and Bataar's like, no man, I'm not gonna tell you shit. And then of course Korra's like, I'm gonna kill you, I'll do it, and then he's like, no you're not.
Yeah, her eyes glow. She goes Avatar state. It's like, you ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, come on.
He
man.
called her bluff.
Yeah, my girl's Kuvira. I know a crazy person that
Which
shit.
is a great moment because if this was season 1 Korra, you best believe she would have.
Oh,
she would have.
Season 2 Korra, where she like threatened a judge to let her dad go free.
I mean, that was her dad.
Yeah,
so I think that didn't have the extra weight onto it.
Of course.
But season 1 Korra, in this situation, easily earthbends him into the ceiling.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
He's crushed like a bug.
Yeah, but she unfortunately is moving, although she's growing much nicer person.
Yeah.
Bataar doesn't take the threat, and of course Sue's like, "I'm gonna talk to you. You're my son. Come on, you gotta do this."
Yeah, because that totally works.
Yeah.
And then I like how.
Oh, but wait, Bataar. Oh, what were you gonna say? I was gonna go on to the next thing that happens, but what are you saying?
Yeah, no. You're
I was gonna say Bataar's ship lands on Air Temple Island to get Raikou, and of course you're like, we don't know where he is, dude.
And that's why they had to go so stealthily. They didn't take anyone out.
Yeah, and and then while Sue's like, "Come on, you're my son, and I love you, and I care about you," he just starts spouting Kuvira's philosophy on the Earth Empire and how they need to unite them, and Kuvira is the only family he has now. And I'm just like, "Oof, God, that is a fucking heart crushing line right there."
How jealous were you of Bataar Jr.
Very
at that
much.
moment?
I wish. I wish what happened to Bataar Jr. happened to me.
If I remember, isn't that when Korra's like, okay, look,
I have a real threat for you.
Yeah, here's a real threat. Yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna kill you or anything, but I am gonna make it so that you will never get to see your loved ones again.
Yeah.
And that's when Batar Jr.'s like, okay, you know what? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm going to flee across the country. I'll move from city to city. You'll never see her again. I'll constantly take you with me. And he's just like, oh, God.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I heard her say that, I'm just like, is this going to work? I really don't know. Like, Chekhov's gun would suggest that it does. But I'm just like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a real threat to me. But apparently, like he loves her that much. So
dude, Batar Jr. is really in love with Kuvira.
He literally turned imprisoned his entire family for her. Like, he's done.
So of course he's like, okay, give me the radio. I'll try to get Kuvira to, stand down. Yeah. We can talk about this and all this and all that stuff.
Back on Air Temple Island, Raiko's like, where the hell? Well, give me Kuvira on the phone. What's going on? And Kuvira's like, Kuvira's calling for Batar Jr. What do we do, dude? And it's like, okay. Raiko's like, what the hell's happening? She's not here. And she's like, where's Batar? And then this is when Batar calls in on the line and explains the situation. And of course, she's just like, oh, Batar, mute the mic for a second. Do you see where they are? You know where they are right now? Okay, good.
Yeah. And then, of course, it was very heartfelt for a moment.
Yeah, he tells her that Korra threatens to never let me see you again and says that they can leave the city behind. We have the rest of the Empire. And then Kuvira says she loves him and fires on the factory that they try where he is located at.
And of course, Korra's like, we gotta go! And then they actually untie Batar Jr. and they all escape. And Batar Jr. is obviously very...
No, yeah,
wow.
Ends with them firing on the thing and we seemingly escape. And then, of course, it goes to Kuvira and she just looks like, peek, inhale, and then back to leader mode. And the episode ends.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And don't forget to be mentioned that the factory that they were in was Asami's workshop.
Yep.
It was Varric's workshop.
It was Varric's workshop.
Yeah,
they
were working on those dragonflies.
Yeah, the dragonflying mechs. And that's the end of the episode. Well, two things right now. First thing I want to talk about is the Mech Reveal. You guys, when you first saw it, Chris and Ed, and also Ben, when you saw it now, what the hell did you think when you saw a literal mech in Avatar?
I mean, I feel like it made sense at this point. We did have a giant Unavatu fight versus giant blue spirit Korra.
Yeah, man.
Like, so a giant mech. And rewatching this when I realized how they made the mech. You guys know how they did it, right?
No, actually, no.
Wasn't it the domes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They mentioned all the flowers from the domes are gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I realized that this time.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like, the technology has advanced so much that in that sense, something like this could easily have happened.
The Zaofu Lotus flowers were like automated and they could like lift and close and everything like that. So it's entirely possible they can make it with that.
That is so cool. Like I never made that connection, honestly.
Yeah. Once they mentioned the domes, I'm like, huh? And then like once the mech was revealed, oh my goodness, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I never made that connection. Like I saw the robot, and part of me was just like, okay, so giant robot. That's not too out of the ordinary. But another part of me was like, holy shit, giant fucking laser robot.
Exactly. It's just like the robot, the giant mech comes in. I'm just like, oh no.
I never took the time to think of like where they got the materials from that, and that makes sense now.
I picked it up last week.
Yeah, it's really good. But what did you think? Yeah, you just freaked out by the giant robot, Ben?
Oh my goodness, just so many things. Because once I saw the giant robot, everything started to click. It's just like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. The spirit vine. It's not gonna be just for a cannon that they can just carry on wheels. No, it's literally the gun of this thing. And then as I was freaking out in the middle of this, I'm just like, wait a minute. Remembers Operation Beifong? Oh, you clever dick, you. And just like Chris. I'm not gonna lie. I was like Chris. I'm like, okay, giant mech for this series, not too crazy. But then on the other hand, holy fuck, Kuvira! This is your big play. This is your big. Oh no!
Yeah, and the second thing I wanted to bring up was Kuvira firing on Batar Jr. I loved Kuvira. Like watching the series, I loved Kuvira. Just as a character, her design's great, her abilities are great, whatever. That skyrocketed her to the pantheon of insanely powerful and intense villains to me. All the scenes of how much they loved each other, they're like, I can't wait to get married to you, I love you so much, and then just her immediately like muting the mic like you're on a goddamn Skype call with somebody you don't like, and being like, yeah, okay, you see where they are, good, and then saying, I love you so much, and then just
okay, now fire.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane.
That was
like that was
level.
that is like next level like insane villainy. Like Jesus Christ, you wouldn't see like I don't think Ozai would have like turned on Azula like that. You know, like I don't like that was like insanely insane of her. It was crazy.
Yeah,
like, that was a mega villain move that you'd like rarely see on anything, like any kind of like animated or not. That was like oh my
she
God.
will do whatever it takes to crush her enemies, including killing her own fiance.
Yeah, it was just
wow.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one, Matt. It's like I'm like, yeah, this is a great villain, you know, kind of, you know, normal Avatar, except for you know, the Red Lotus.
Yeah.
I thought they were like the peak of like villainy because they actually like used Mercury on the Avatar. I'm like, that's sick. And then all of a sudden, Kuvira does the yeah, okay, you know where they are. Okay. I love you, my fiance. Kill him. Kill him. I'm like. Yeah, like you, it's just like, okay, she just went from like an 11 to a possible 21 on the villain scale. It was heart-wrenching, yes, because, you know, she was going to kill her fiance.
Yeah.
But with the way Kuvira is, it was kind of building up to a big moment like that.
Of course, yeah.
I didn't see it coming, still. I'm like, again, like, I was in the moment.
Yeah.
But, like, once it happened, once the episode was over, I'm like, I should have seen this coming because it was building up to something.
Yeah, when I like first saw it, I was like, when he was captured, my first thought was like, what's she gonna be? Would he be willing to die for her, or would she be willing to kill him? The entire time he was captured, I was like, would she really give up for him? And I was like, but then I get the answer at the end of the episode.
Yep,
nope.
Answer's right there.
Nope. It's also kind of cements her, like at this point too. The way the episode ends is like, how do you beat her at this point?
Yeah.
She's shown to be so powerful, bending wise. Mm-hmm. She's, you know, she's charismatic. She's also willing to take massive sacrifices to achieve her goals. Like, there's no weakness. Yeah. There's no bribing her. There's no blackmailing her. There's no taking away anything from her.
Not to mention all of the the majority of the robot is made of platinum, so metalbenders can't touch it. But I have to imagine like a handful of like the control section.
I don't think they actually explain it until this next episode about the whole platinum thing.
Yeah.
Still,
but let's be real. I mean, yeah, you could have definitely tell. You could definitely tell that there was going to be something to make it not too easy. But yeah, it is.
Kuvira is.
She's like the perfect villain, like you were saying.
She's
Ed.
dark.
Yeah,
she is dark.
Intense villain,
and her personality and everything that she's done, I think when we get to it, we'll highlight why Korra, again, I'll say it again, why Korra is the better avatar than Aang.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But before then, we need to get to episode 12,
12,
Day of the Colossus.
Kuvira's Gambit.
Thanks, Ed. The last time is all about the invasion, of course. The robot approaching the city and being early and all that biz. Opens on the ruins of the factory. Bolin is bending a gigantic stone wall, getting everyone from under it. It's insanely intense. The mech troops are taking the city, and of course Tenzin's just like, come on everybody, we gotta get the hell out of here. Bolin is ready to flee and take her out now. Or take everybody out of the city. Mako says we gotta she's gotta target Wu, so we gotta get him and the citizens out. But of course Korra will not give up the city.
Of course you won.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all of that, of course, you know, it's like, okay, how do we do this? I mean, that thing is giant, it's massive. How are we gonna how do we take this out? Kind of thing. Yep. And I think this is when Baatar Jr. finally is like, you know, still broken, obviously, but it's like, okay, so...
Oh, yeah, the Varric talks about the suits.
You guys mentioned the fact that Bolin bended that
whole wall?
Massive wall.
Giant wall. Massive wall.
Getting everyone from under, yeah.
No, everyone take your time, this is fine, I'm fine.
Also, I love how no one helped him.
Yeah, well, Lynn's there, freaking Sue's there, his family's there.
Yeah, right. Everyone could have helped him, and he had to do it by himself. Which, I mean, it's funny to see. Like sometimes I notice that I notice a lot in some, like especially with an Operation Beifong when the family was fighting. Like everyone was making up those walls, but those two twins together were bending a bigger, longer wall. Yeah. And I was thinking about it, and I think back to like the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, which is awful.
Oh,
God awful. But like all those 5 guys bending that tiny little rock. But I think I noticed the physical strain that it takes to actually bend Earth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saw, like every time you see them kind of bending on these things, it's like they can do the small stuff. But that's why I think. Also, it points out why Boomy was so good.
Boomy, yeah.
Because, like, without any kind of physical exertion, he had that fucking massive rock over Aang.
Yeah, he was able to bend with just his face. Just like,
yeah.
And like do a giant
But
rock.
he bent little rocks at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I noticed, like, the way Bolin was, like, he was like he was lifting up something.
Yeah, it was insane.
Right, yeah. I mean, I do like that. Like, when any bender is, like, doing something massive, it does actually show the strain that it takes on
Not
them.
so much on some of the other elements, like especially water. I've noticed they do not do the same amount of like strength, like exertion in their faces.
Like the airbenders, they literally pull it out of thin air. And in fire, they pull it out of their own bodies or souls or whatever.
Like I get Katara is super powerful, but like when they were going out attacking to get to the Earth King. Like that whole moat that she pulled up, like there was like nothing.
Yeah,
she really traveled up a waterfall, no issue at all. Like the amount of, I think what it is because like Earth is being pulled down, but water is flowing. Air is obviously everywhere.
Yeah, the fire
and the fires again from themselves. Like water's the only one that's kind of comparable, but you're not doing the same way.
Yeah, the physical labor with the Earth
Fair,
is really
fair.
intense.
You're right, by the way. Yeah, they're like, hey, yeah, we need to go and attack head on. And Varric's like, yeah, about the hummingbird mechs, they're all destroyed. Asami's like, yeah, but we do have the prototypes. Because that's going to be a good idea.
Yeah, as we got to the station with Pema, trying to calm the people down, and the conductor says, or like she's like on the stage saying, everybody come on, you gotta chill out. The conductor comes, squeezes on his thing saying, hey man, the tracks are destroyed. No one's getting out of the city. And then of course, Bolin cousin, friend of the podcast, Greg Sipes' character, jumps on stage as well and says, hey man, the army's coming this way right now. And then Wu jumps on the stage along with everybody else and says, hey man, we gotta stay calm.
A very fun scene.
Yeah, and then this is when we see he says, everybody stay calm, we're going to get you all out of here. Milo, this is when like they're running through the city trying to figure out how to take the robot down. Sees like a paint store and says, I have a plan, we're going to rob this paint store.
Milo's first good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it is thievery.
Yeah, of course. The air squad decides to fly into the mech's face area, and Kuvira, of course, just fires at them and tries to shoot them out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first you're actually like in the thing, actually like spinning the ball, like wheel balls, just to fucking.
Yeah, she's metal bending, using metal bending
gears,
to control everything. I'm like that's when I also saw like just how powerful of a bender she is. We already knew she was a really good villain and she was strong, but she is moving like just about every single like mechanism that's not platinum in that entire 25-story mech. Whew! That's like Avatar level shit right there.
I don't know if it was mentioned that they're trying to slow her down while they get the hummingbirds to work.
Yep.
Yeah. Milo runs up the arm of the mech over the laser and flings a bunch of paint balloons at the window, and of course he just washes it off like window wiper.
I was like. That feels like some Deus Ex Machina.
That was really funny.
Literally, Deus Ex Machina.
No matter how hard you try, it's paint. It's gonna be really hard to
how
take
do they know to install sprinklers?
Yeah, like sprinklers on the thing. Because trying to block the windows.
That, yeah. Well, I mean, windshield wipers. Cars had them.
Yeah, but they also have cars.
There's also a giant mech.
Yes,
but they have cars.
Yeah, but like in this day, like cars had just been invented, right?
Right. Yeah, and
recently. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, that's very Deus Ex Machina going on.
Yeah, but this one, Lynn finds out that the joints are platinum, and of course, like, well, time to get the biggest hot foot ever, and fucking Bolin just lava bends the entire ground below it while it's stationary. They wrap some metal coils around the feet, and it's when Cora tries to trip it by sending a bunch of air at the top of it. Kuvira, of course, just whips the beam across the city like Shin Godzilla, just zoom across the whole thing. He just like swings it across the city like Shin Godzilla. Oh god, me and Ben watched it.
Yeah, we
That's
watched
an intense
Godzilla.
movie. When
my
goodness. Did you guys see
goodness.
Shin Godzilla?
No.
Oh my god, you guys have to watch it when you get the chance. It's the most powerful being in the fucking play. It's literally the Eva director doing a Godzilla movie, and Godzilla is literally another goddamn angel from Evangelion.
It really is, yeah.
Truly.
Anyway, back to this.
Oh yeah, Korra blasts it again with air, but the mech just stabilizes and fires on her again, taking the whole air squad with it.
And then is this when we cut back and look at like Asami and
Yeah,
Derek
back to
working
the
on
prototypes.
working on the prototypes, trying to get everything going. And of course, as they're like, trying and doing as much as they can, we actually get Su Yin. Stop it. We get Sue talking to
oh goodness.
No, they're sisters.
I ship it.
Awful. Not gonna edit that out of this damn thing.
We get
Don't lie. Nothing gets edited out.
Yeah, I mean that's true. We get Sue and Batar Jr. having a moment because Batar Jr. again still broken about Kuvira's utter betrayal.
Like at this point, he's just written her off.
Oh no! Well, yeah, she has. Okay, sorry.
No, I mean, like he has written her off, and just be like, okay, no, you know what? Fuck it. She deserves to go to jail.
Tried to kill me.
Yeah, it's like, she really tried to kill me, and of course Sue's like, I don't know why.
She said, I love that. This is one of my favorite lines where Sue just says, "Kuvira is a very complicated person." And I'm just like, wow, that is a way to put it.
That's certainly a way.
True.
Well, didn't Kuvira get raised by Sue almost?
Yeah, literally, yeah. Raised as an orphan and found on the streets, and like that's why Sue's still, even at this point, is just like, yeah.
That was something that was mentioned earlier, that Kuvira was an orphan. So, actually, a lot of the Beifong family might be a little broken, except for Opal, who was just like, dude, kill that bitch.
Yeah, of course. But this is when finally, Varric comes up with an idea, the very classic, seen it in a million movies, sci-fi giant EMP. That'll take it out.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, because when he and Bolin were running away from Kuvira, they had a small EMP. So now he's like, why not a big one?
Yeah.
I can use a small EMP to take out the small boss. So it stands to reason I can take out the giant one with a giant EMP.
Didn't they mention as well, I don't know if you mentioned yet, how they were going to get the hummingbirds working and the
prototypes of the thing?
Yeah, well, they were going to use those platinum cutters, and there was they had some help from someone, didn't they?
That person hasn't showed up yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
it's after the EMP.
It was after? What was after?
I
believe so.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I could have sworn it was before.
Yeah, it's very, like, those factory scenes are, like, very intermittent, cutting back and forth with this. But yeah, he wants to take the opportunity to tell, like, while they're installing the EMP in a giant tower, Varric takes the opportunity to tell a weird story about a weird ostrich. What was ostrich something that he had?
Yeah, so some kind of ostrich bird
He's
thing.
Like, I didn't appreciate it, and come on, we gotta cut this short. We gotta make attack. We gotta stop. So of course, the EMP takes out all the small robots, but it does not work on the big one.
Yep, and of course, as all of this is happening, Kuvira is just like, okay, what happened to the platoons? Like, what's going on? It's like, apparently they did some kind of electrical thing, because I don't think anyone knows what an EMP is in this.
Yeah, and they just said, she was like, all right, everyone sweep the city. And Bolin's like, it didn't work. And there's like, Batar's like, oh, it's spirit vine energy. It's not electricity. You dummies. And this is when Asami's dad pops up with Lin saying he wants to help, and then he's going to go back to jail.
Yep. And I think this is when they were talking about, so we're going to... How did you explain it?
They use like plasma cutters or something he's able to help stabilize, like get all these great ideas.
Yeah. He says you need to take out the heart and the brain to stop the machine. And the plasma cutters to do it in the hummingbird suits, install them in the suits to take them out. And of course, when we come back to the station, Pema's kind of just singing to the station people some citizen air nomad kid songs. And like one annoying naysaying rando is just like, this isn't working. What are we gonna do?
And then that's when the Badger Moles appear.
Yeah.
Badger Moles!
I think I just got to mention that Wu had left to say, I'm going to go get help.
Yeah.
Yep. With like Bolin's cousin, the one voice actor you're talking about, and
friend of the show.
Yeah.
Yep, friend of the show. Yep. And then they Wu did get help with, I think his name was Tu actually.
Tu? I can't remember that guy.
I think that was his name because I thought it was hilarious because there's Wu and Tu.
Yeah, that naysaying guy's like, what, Badger Moles? How are they going to help? And then, of course, the laser blasts something in the background. He's like, come on, follow the Badger Moles.
Badger Moles, go!
How did he explain why the Badger Moles listen to Wu?
Because of his wonderful, wonderful singing, which I hate every time it happens.
Yeah, that's right. The Badger Moles, hey, you gotta find beauty in everything. Badger Moles are like, you know what? This guy's going places.
I like what he's doing. I like what this guy's doing over here.
Let's make some secret tunnels. Secret tunnels.
Oh, no.
You're through the mountain.
Well, through the
secret tunnels.
I mean, it was to a train station, but whatever.
Hey, but they're still making a tunnel that is very secret into Kuvira.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Kuvira tells him to find the EMP during her, and then we cut back to the fly suits, which are almost ready. Batar tells them about the engine room and the main control room and all the places that they need to hit. Korra and the gang take on the mech, and we see some crazy strong bending on everyone's part. And of course, Milo being silly in the meantime.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Milo. He's got to do his fart bending.
Yeah, but it's no use, and the Earthbenders are tossed by an entire building. They try to toss an entire building, the twins, and I think somebody else.
I think Lynn and...
the whole family
Lynn as well.
Tosses an entire building at the damn thing.
I see that collateral damage is not a concern at this point.
Nah, the city's evacuated.
At this point, yeah, it's been evacuated, and also the laser has already destroyed half of it.
Of course, it's insane.
It's one of those situations where it's like, we get rid of this building to get rid of the mech that will literally level this entire city.
Yeah, they're freezing his feet. They're pushing it over with the giant whole building. Meanwhile, we cut back to Wu's awful singing, and we see that he's singing about the grandma of the Bolin and Mako's family. She's like loving it. This horrible song about her. And this is when the Earth Empire and the soldiers find them. They're like, "Hey, we got you guys. You're surrounded." And of course, more terrible Wu singing takes up the scene. But they're like, "What? Like the badge almost ditched you, dude. They're tired of your shitty singing." And then of course,
I don't know what you're talking about.
And then, as of course, it's like, yeah, your Badger Moles just hate your singing so much. And then that's when they come back and destroy all the mechs, pretty much.
Yeah, just knock them out immediately. Asami and her dad are finishing the plasma torching. Is it the ankle they're getting into, or like the thigh?
I thought it was.
They were going to try to get wherever they could.
Yeah.
They're flying.
No, it was that spot in the back, the one that Varric can never reach.
Yes,
Yeah.
That kind of flexibility.
Yeah, he managed to slap him back right there. Yeah.
And this is when a very, very tender moment happens.
Yeah.
Because Varric's going to be joining the fray, but he looks at Zhu Li down on one knee and asks if she would do the thing with him.
I mean, the way I got it was he basically asked, "Baby, be my forever gal."
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much he just proposes to her in the very, very
You guys got the reference, right?
Yeah, he says, of course, yeah. He says, asks her to do the thing for the rest of their lives.
And of course, Julie says yes, because, let's be real, the first time you see Varric and Julie, you knew they were going to.
Of course.
Well, at least I did. I don't know about everyone else.
It was very romantic.
I feel like it wouldn't have happened if she had remained like his assistant. Like now that she's established herself as an equal, it makes more sense.
Of course.
That's fair. That's fair.
Also, I thought you were going to talk about the tender moment between Asami and her dad, too.
Oh, yeah, that has happened.
Yeah.
He was talking about it before. It's like, "Oh, you've done so amazing." And
I'm so glad you're here, and they really appreciate each other. It's really tender scene.
Yeah, because like in one of the previous episodes, we actually did see that Asami was trying to reconnect with her dad. So I did forget that they do also have a tender moment as well.
Yeah. Korra manages to do a big freeze on the feet of the mech, but Varric and Julie are knocked down. Asami keeps cutting the knee until the mech thaws, and her dad launches her out as he is swatted, finishing the leg. Oof.
That was rough.
Yeah.
That's
really kind of cut. But it's they're little birds and they get hit, and oh man, he was
thoroughly smushed.
I mean, if you think about it's small. He's a small character, but that little arc was.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish the episode for you. That's one of my topics.
Okay.
Yeah, Korra and the gang head in as Kuvira fully she goes full mech pilot, and she's like, I gotta try to move, and she can barely do anything at this point. She's really pissed. But this is when she swats the leg, and we see that they all managed to get inside just before they were killed.
Okay, just before they were swatted.
And that is when the episode ends.
Yes,
I want to talk about Hitoshi Sato's redemption. First of all, did you guys think it was earned for him to have a redemption arc, being kind of a weird character from the beginning to this point?
Well,
kind of.
I think so. Honestly, because I feel like after the whole Amon thing, and when you see him, especially in this season, he realizes what he did to hurt Asami, to how, because I mean, really, when she's like, Mom would hate what you've become, I think the time that we haven't seen him, he really has taken that to heart. And this point, too, it's been years since that
he's like
situation.
all gray. Yeah, he's like went full gray before having like a streak before. He's like looks like very elderly now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ed. I mean, we got to see just how sinister he was during the whole season 1 Amon thing. We didn't get to see him until season 3 for a little bit.
I
think he popped up in 2 at some point.
Yeah, well,
either way,
for
him in 2 and 3.
That was an episode where I think Asami went to go visit him or something.
Yeah,
that was season 4 though.
That was not in 4, I don't think. It was in
I think it was season 3 or something like that, because that's when Korra and them all got together, and then Korra found out about it. Either way, you actually got to see the change in Hiroshi. You actually got to see that he actually did give it a lot of thought over the years. That he hurt Asami. He hurt a lot of people. He did something bad. So. Yeah, like with you, Ed, I think that this was definitely earned for him. This was his redemption arc. Although, probably with all of you, that ending.
Even when he came in to help, it was with the expectation he'd go right back to jail.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he was just happy to be able to work with Asami one last time. If he was going to go back to jail, he could be proud that he helped his daughter, one last time, and he really did love and care for her. Yeah. And I think too, he saw that his loss and his pain from losing his wife, he used that and ended up losing his daughter, even though she was still there.
Yeah.
You had some thoughts, Chris, because you were with the whole redemption arc.
Well,
what were your thoughts?
Well, I just based on the amount of screen time we had with Hiroshi, I don't know. I guess with what we can assume happened off screen, it makes sense. I think he had a pretty good redemption arc. It just would have been nice to see more of a change in him over time. It's we saw him in the first season. He did the bad thing. we saw him once in season 2 or 3. Where I think he's been in prison for a handful of months at that point. Oh, well, no, hang on. How many years had it been between 3 and 4? I want to say
3 years.
How long was Cora by herself after season 3? I can't remember.
It was
years. It was at least a year.
I want to say it was a 3-year jump.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was a couple of years, I think, or maybe. But
I just told you it was 3-year jumps. So what happens last time you guys questioned me?
Let's not do that. Let's learn from our mistake last time.
We'll take your word for it. Yeah.
Autograph the table.
But yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, Chris. Yes. It was it was a good redemption arc, but you would have liked to see more of a development with that, rather than just one episode, it's been X amount of years later,
right.
And okay, yeah, I
rather than just 3 on-screen data points of change.
Yeah. Oh, and it seems Ed looked it up, and
it was 3 years.
Okay, wow.
Of course
hey, we weren't questioning you though.
I know. I just wanted to be officially confirming how amazing I am.
Nice.
Yeah.
Speaking in contrast with that, though, I wanted to say after Hiroshi's whole redemption arc, my other note that I wanted to talk about was I just wrote here, Wu sucks.
At singing.
I don't like Wu at all. I really dislike his character. He's very obnoxious, and I never enjoyed whenever he's on the screen.
Oh, no, he's very much like Raiko. Overall, you just hate him as a person, and then occasionally he does a good thing.
Well, here's the thing. With Raiko, he's just a dick. There are... I think you said it best earlier, Ed. There are, no redeeming qualities with Raiko.
Yeah, but a character can be, a negative person, but, I actively dislike Wu.
Well, see, here's the thing.
I think he's incredibly obnoxious. Besides his personality being, a mean, selfish person, which is,
Doink?
Yeah, I was about to say, very much... I played a character incredibly similar to Wu in a D&D campaign we did for years. But, I guess it's kind of watching a character, watching something, because I really just like everything Wu does. I really just like everything he says. I'm just really annoyed whenever he's on screen.
Well, that's why they put it with Mako. You put 2 characters that you hate together.
yeah, but
they're trying to make Mako more likable by putting him next to someone even worse.
Well, see, and here's the thing, though. Here's my opinion on that. With your thing about the whole put 2 people together, make Mako look better. I actually think Wu's a little bit better than Mako. No. Hear me out. Yes, Wu is an incorrigible ass. Yes, Wu only thinks about, the girls, particularly Korra, but the girls. Yeah. And, he started off as, I'm the prince, I get to be the ruler, and whiny baby, blah, blah. But in one season, he actually had more of a not only character development, but also a redemption arc than Mako had for the entire frickin' show. Because yes, he still has his motives, but he got to calm down the entire city by letting them know, hey, we have to do this evacuation thing. His horrid singing did, however, attract the help of badger moles, and of course Wu was still able. He did grow. It was a little bit. He did grow, and but still, Mako is still a piece of shit, though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like Raizo and Wu are different. Raizo knows what he's doing.
The
president.
Yeah, Raiko,
whatever.
Raizo.
Whoever. I don't give a shit what his
I
name
know.
He's Raikou at some point. That's a Pokemon, son.
Whatever his name is, the president knows what he's doing. He's actively thinking about himself, and he's making decisions that he knows will get popular support. Wu, I think, was selfish and sheltered and everything like that. But when he's confronted with those, unlike the president, who continues his horridness, Wu is willing to evolve and grow. He's still a terrible character. He's still annoying as all get out. But he at least is willing to grow and change. Mm-hmm. And we hate his personality, but at the very least, at the end of the day, he's someone that you hate, but you can respect.
Yeah.
I don't respect the president at all. At no point do I think... The only time he makes a single good decision is when he surrenders to Kuvira instead of letting people die.
Mm-hmm. Right,
the only time. And even then, I feel like there's some motives behind it.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he's an elected official. Of course President Riku is going to have...
President Entei.
Well, no, I said Riku this time. Because he had Sora, Donald, Goofy, everyone, right? No, but either way. But yeah, like you said, there's horrible and respectable, and then there's the president and Mako.
Yeah, like I said, I'll never argue that Wu did not have a fully fleshed out character and a full arc and redemption arc, a full
he sucks.
He's a fully developed. I really dislike him.
He's bad.
Yeah,
he sucks.
He really is. At the end of the day,
he's a 100% well done, fully established character. But yeah, I just really don't like him.
Your thoughts?
Yeah,
I mean, it's been mostly said that he is a sleazeball. That he likes the ladies. He is selfish. He is a wimp. Woo down, woo down,
woo down. Yes,
catchphrase.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but he does occasionally do some good things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he wants to do good.
Yeah.
I think he does actively care.
Yeah, he does try. That's true. Speaking of caring,
oh boy,
time to hit the final episode
of the series finale. Oh boy. Yeah, we might as well get this over with because we're going to have a lot to talk about after this.
This episode's already long. We have a lot to discuss.
Episode
13. Do you really, dude?
Kuvira's Gambit.
Hey, you stole my joke. I was about to say that again.
Let's try this again, shall we?
Episode 13, The Last Stand.
Kuvira's Gambit.
Yeah. The last time is about the attack and Wu's rescue of the citizens underground, and of course their entry into the knee of the mech suit. The mech is still frozen as Kuvira begins to break free. She initiates lockdown on the inside of the mech.
Oh boy.
Yep, the gang inside split up to try to find out. What is it? I didn't write which places they went to. Do you know?
Okay. It was Mako and Bolin were supposed to shut down the engine. Mm-hmm. Sue and Lin are going to the arm. Are going after the weapon. Yep. And Korra was going to just go to the Kuvira.
Yeah. So let's see. First, with them going to the energy source, Bolin has a really cool lava disc with him that he hasn't had before. Mako hits the giant spirit vine with some electricity. He knocks in. When they fight, the first thing that happens is they bust into the energy source.
Yeah, they take out the two guards.
Yeah, they fight the two guards. Mako accidentally bumps into the vine chunk in the middle of the giant energy source, and a bunch of lightning shoots off of it crazily. Sue and Lin are in the cannon, and this is when, working together, they just really start ripping it up. They beat the two guards easily and start ripping up the cannon from the inside.
I love this. Just seeing both of the sisters. Yeah, I know they're half sisters, but both of the sisters just like ripping, tearing.
Like the outside's platinum, but this is normal metal. Just
oh, it was perfection.
So good. Kuvira suddenly can't use the arm anymore after they start like ripping, and she just says, "I can't use it." Oh well, and like literally like. Straight up, this is a 100% Evangelion-ass move. She just grabs it with the other arm and rips the cannon arm off and throws it across the city.
I was gonna say like Last Giant from Dark Souls 2.
Yeah. Up the table. I was so excited about
But yeah, I was like, well, damn. Like again, it's another moment where Kuvira is like, I'm not gonna let anything stop me. She's like, there's clearly someone in this arm, and they've already destroyed it. So rather than wallow in that loss, I'm gonna flip this to my advantage, because she does get rid of two of the people inside the mech suit at that point.
Not knowing it's one of them, Sue, the person she's most like invested in. Sue and Lin, they barely survive by strapping them, tying themselves to the wall.
Although to be fair, like she has no idea who's in there. She just knows there's people in there. Let's get rid of them.
Yeah, which shows the arm too. It's pointed out. I should be pointing out that they fall and the arm falls elsewhere, but the cannon kind of separates from what the arm is at.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
the cannon gets flung into the spirit vine area.
And of course, when Kuvira does this, she's like, having that moment where she's like having that like stare down of what she just did. Of course, there's a little bit of ruckus going on behind her, and Korra appears.
Yep,
bursts
in.
Also, I don't know if you guys noticed at all, but as especially this episode goes, more and more little pieces of her hair
hair's coming undone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Korra bursts in. Kuvira uses the weird mouse pad balls to just liquid to just like immediately starts whipping it around. And she fights. She's still really tough for Korra to fight, which I love. She is that strong.
Yeah, she's just really powerful.
Yeah, once again, like Kuvira's fighting style is just scarily good.
It really is.
It's insane. Mako and Bolin.
Yep, back to Mako and Bolin, where they're still fighting the two random guards.
Yeah, but they do eventually beat them and get the levers. They need to pull them at the same time, but it doesn't seem to work. This is when Bolin doesn't know why it's not working, but the vine is very explosive. That's the only thing he knows about it. And Mako's like, all right, I got an idea. I got my one per season chance. So,
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
The one
per season.
Lightning bending.
Yep. He says, I'm going to explode the energy source. And Bolin's like, no, dude, you can't. You better survive if you do this. I swear to God, man. I love you, bro.
Yes, heaven forbid you have to survive this, Mako.
Yeah, they get their brotherly I love yous, and he charges up the lightning.
And they do take the guards, too.
Yeah, Bolin takes the guards out, which is a nice touch. It blows. She starts shocking it with all of his energy, and it blows his sleeve apart, and eventually blows him back, and he gets hit.
Yeah, it kind of reverbs onto him, too.
It hits him like in the chest. And like right in the chest, and he gets blasted back.
He almost makes it to the catch, and there's like, just his arm's over it.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's down.
Yeah, it's rough. Kuvira and Korra are evenly matched in the fight still, but the core explosion knocks them off balance. Mm-hmm. Mako and Bolin saves Mako, and the mech blows apart from the waist, and everyone is flung out. That was a really cool scene.
That really was, yeah.
Giant exploding robot. What more could you ask for a season finale?
Yeah, I know, right? Korra rescues Kuvira and says it's finally over, and she says she won't give up, and she like knocks her away and flees into the spirit forest. She is just like relentless.
Yeah, very relentless.
Oof.
I think this is when they also hear like the charging of the cannon, right?
Yeah, Korra says you got to give up, and then look, we see like Kuvira like, going around.
You also see everyone. You see Bolin was able to save Mako, and the two of them are knocked out. Sue and Lin are still like tied up, and they tie themselves to that thing, and they're unconscious.
Yep.
Everyone is out at this point. It is Korra versus Kuvira.
Yeah, it is just
winner takes all.
Of course, yeah. We see her going in the forest after her never. She goes deeper. Korra eventually finds her with the spirit cannon, like strapped to her arm with the spirit vines. It's an insane scene.
Yeah, tangled up in the vines.
Yeah.
She's all the way up there.
Yeah, just standing on the giant cannon, and she fires. The cannon, of course, goes crazy, again, like Shin Godzilla, and just swings across the city.
Plus, it's getting extra power at that point, too.
The vines are glowing up as well. It's insane, and Kuvira is unable to stop it. She says, I can't stop it. Korra, once again, saves her by spirit bending. Actually, like, stopping the energy from the cannon. With
This is the moment I've been waiting for. So, this is why Korra is a better avatar than Aang. Because Aang's whole journey, he had to become the avatar, but he never confronted himself at that point. Because even when he was confronted with having to defeat Ozai and everyone's like, you gotta kill him, he found a way to keep to his value or whatever. And I feel like he didn't grow at that point as much. Korra has come, she was the person who, she would have saved Kuvira. And this was season 1 Korra.
Oh, absolutely not.
She would have killed her. She was willing to do that. But rather than, I mean, she literally jumps in front of that massive spirit blast to save Kuvira, who did this to herself. Yeah. She could have gotten away without any blood on her hands at that point. But she jumps in and saves her. And this is not the same Korra who 3 years prior was, so focused on being the Avatar, she didn't really properly know what that meant.
And I think what made that happen was, well, everything she went to. She had been bloodbended by someone who didn't have to even like use the full moon. She had, literally lost all of her memories and had to fight a giant
her uncle, her family.
Her uncle. She literally got mercury poisoned. And that literally like stopped her from doing a lot of things.
For 3 years she had that in her too. She was down for the count for 3 years, but yeah, she learned to me, Aang became an Avatar. But Korra learned what it truly means to be the Avatar.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
She is such a better character because when she what's the word? When she had the chance to kill, she would have chosen, but she chose to sacrifice herself for her enemy.
Yeah.
Aang would not have done that. Aang would not have sacrificed himself for Ozai.
Or at least 12-year-old Aang.
He was
like adult Aang might have. We don't know much about him, though.
I don't think Aang would have. I feel like Aang was always the person who was going to stick to his ideals. He was only the Avatar by name. Korra was the Avatar true. And that's why her being the beginning of the new era of Avatars, they're in a much better spot. No offense to Juan, but...
he fucked up a lot too.
Aang fucked up hard.
Yeah, but more so the actual like stopping of that beam creates another spirit portal.
Yep,
yes.
a third spirit portal.
Yeah, that's the insane thing that happened. Yeah.
So in the span of a couple of minutes, Korra blocks a spirit energy beam, saves Kuvira, and causes a nuclear explosion, and the nuclear explosion becomes a spirit portal.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Well, it was a whole lot of spirit energy, because that's all that the canon was.
Oh, no, I just mean, like that was fucking epic. Like, Jesus.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it blasts, like, a literal gigantic spirit force into the entire center of the city.
Yep, and speaking of that, both sides, Kuvira's side, Korra's side, they all go to that spot. Tenzin's like, oh, wow, that's a new spirit portal. But where's Kuvira and Korra?
Yeah.
Like, where are they at?
The Empire forces are searching for Kuvira, and the gang searching for Korra. And no one can find them anywhere. And this is in the spirit world. Again, we see Korra seeing her reflection, and of course, it turns into Kuvira. It's just an intense scene all around.
It really is.
And of course, Kuvira still doesn't trust her. But Korra reflects on how they're not so different, her and I.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The good guy pulls we're not so different?
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and of course, with all of that, Korra's like, okay, I understand where you were coming from, since you and I are, like, kind of similar, but, I mean, it's still wrong.
Yeah, Kuvira's just like, you don't know, like, we're nothing alike. You don't know where I've come from and what I've had to do, what the Earth Empire's gone through. Sue, like, I was abandoned by my family, and Sue was abandoning the Earth Kingdom. I was like, oh, actually explains her whole motivation for, like, lashing out so hard after Sue decided not to lead. She says no one was there for her, and she won't see her people cast aside. And it's just like, so such good, like, background for her. Korra explains about her depression after the poisoning, which is insanely cool that she goes into that. And this is when they kind of connect. In the city, now the spirits show up, of course, after that.
Yeah, now they show up.
Yeah. Korra exits the portal now with a convinced Kuvira, and the forces prepare to attack, but Kuvira tells them to stand down, and she gives up to be arrested.
Yep.
Oh, that's insane.
Which was another good moment because it was Kuvira was willing. It was almost like what's Asami's dad's name again?
Hiroshi.
It was kind of a Hiroshi moment where like the true weight of what she had done suddenly was in her field of vision.
Yeah. And immediately the first thing she does is she apologizes to Sue, which I was just like, oh god.
And of course, Sue is like, you're gonna have to answer for your crime.
Yeah, Sue's like, you're gonna you're gonna answer for what you've done. I'm just like, oh come on, Sue, you could have been more nice for that. That was a really touching thing she just did. The gang then congratulates Korra.
And then they all group hug.
Yeah,
because it's Team Korra.
And we have a slow fade out to Bolin giving a beautiful speech to Julie and Varric at their wedding.
Yep. Apparently, Bolin gets ordained as a minister at some point.
I'm sorry.
No, he didn't.
Online
but then again, they probably didn't have organized religion.
Oh, they probably didn't.
Oh yeah, the vague spirituality.
He's been to the spirit world,
of course, yeah.
There you go. He got ordained because he went to the spirit world.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, a big old speech about true love. Master Pabu has the vows, and they give their pledges of true love to each other. And of course, Bolin says, "Now you're wed, you can do the thing." And she dips Varric and kisses him.
Yes,
Julie does that to him. Like, that's amazing.
And I mean, she's been carrying him all this time.
Yeah, literally.
and of course... Good one.
I mean, literally, if you think about it, when they jumped away,
she always when he was in prison, she came in that the fly suit and grabbed him and she's always carrying him.
And my favorite moment after the whole dip and everything, Varric's just in tears, just like, you just make me so dang happy.
Yeah, it's
I'm like, oh, Varric.
Varric is one of the best characters, like just like to the end.
And then it's like a dinner party going on.
Yeah, big fireworks festival. I wrote in my notes. Tano of the Wolfbats plays best instrument, the trombone.
Wait. I'm sorry. Best instrument, the drums. What?
The trombone. Yeah,
the trumpet.
No, the sax.
No. Come on, that's the best one ever. Trombone.
I did like how.
Is there we're gonna announce our new band?
Yeah. Oh, we don't even do that. Called the Wolfbats. I'm Tano.
Hey. We'll announce that at the Ground On podcast. But
we see lots of happy couples dancing along with the emo dude and what's the youngest? Not Janora, the other daughter, Iki and the emo son.
I did love, by the way, that Tano was a musician now.
Yeah, that was really funny.
That's another little. This is a small little.
Yep. I'm glad he came back.
I was about to say that entire group of people are different. Off characters, you see the two bad cops. You see, just so many things.
Yeah, Mako and Wu are reconciling on how he'll be a great leader, but he says, you know what? I think that we should probably instill democracy instead. What? And Mako's also like, I'm not gonna set you up with Korra. And he's like, hey man, it's cool, don't worry.
Hey dude, relax, it's all good.
Yeah, Wu tells Korra that he's going to stop the monarchy and raise it because obviously people should be able to vote for their leaders, just like the United Republic.
And of course, Korra's is like, good for you,
yeah,
buddy.
Good, man. That's a good thing you're doing.
And of course, Korra and Tenzin have
wait, before that. Mako and Korra reconcile on everything that's happened with them so far, having each other's backs forever, and it's really a touching scene of those two finally reconciling with their whole weird relationship.
Yeah.
Korra overlooks the party from outside, and this is when Tenzin comes up and tells her about Raiko's plans.
Right, yeah. And of course, after the whole Raiko's plans and everything, they also talk about, the whole poisoning and everything like that, but Tenzin's like, you've grown a lot, and kind of like what you said, about Korra. He's just like, you did a really good job. You came through, you went through a lot of things, but
he explicitly says she did more in a few years than some avatars in their entire lifetimes.
Yep,
yeah.
Indeed,
yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah, I was about to say, we'll go over that the two Kyoshi books I will talk about after this.
I haven't read those yet.
They're excellent. But yeah, they have a very touching moment about them. And then this is when she feels like she's just beginning. Like, I feel like I'm just starting out here. And he's very happy that she lives a full life.
Yep, and this is when Asami comes in.
Before they again address her depression, which is really nice, and how much more compassionate she is now. It's exactly what they were saying.
Yeah, that line was so good. I actually specifically wrote this down because it hit me hard. I needed it to understand what true suffering was, so that I could become more compassionate to others, even people like Kuvira.
Yeah, God,
that's a pretty
so
heavy
amazing.
Line, man.
But Asami shows up and tells Tenzin Varric is trying to steal an air glider to check on that.
He's gonna jump off the tower with it, and Tenzin's like, "No, don't you dare!"
That sounds like a bad idea. Asami asks Korra to sit on the steps, and they kind of bond over their relationship over the course of the series. Korra wants to apologize for disappearing for so long, and Asami is just happy to see her back and says that she's glad she had the chance to forgive her father. Then this is when they kind of bond a little bit more, and they decide to go on vacation together. Just the two of them into the spirit world.
And then this is when, let's be real, back in the day when this came out, this is when we get like a really, really big scene for animation. Mm-hmm. Because not only do they like go into the spirit world together, but no, the last scene you get is both of them looking in each other's eyes, holding hands. We'll get to that. Yeah. Why that's a really big big thing.
Going on an adventure, and it pans up to the sky, and I assume in Chinese, not kanji, I don't know what the Chinese writing is, but it says, I assume the end. Yeah. And that is the end of the series, Korra.
That is the end.
That was insanely intense, and I absolutely loved it. It was a great ending.
Indeed.
Now, I wanted to, first thing, we're going to have a ton of shit to talk about,
because
it's the end of the series. But, first things first, final comparison to the original series of Avatar. This season, first, before that, this season finale compared to the other season finales of the show. What did you guys think of this series, the season finales? Compared to the first one where she gets her bending back from Aang, the second one where she...
this season?
Just this one first, compared to the other ones, because I like the end of this was very like...
We'll start with them, but...
I think it does a pretty good job of just wrapping up just about everything, or at least everything that we we've seen up to that point. Mm-hmm. I don't really have much thoughts beyond that, to be honest. It was an epic showdown. It ended with Cora not killing her villain and just having her locked up, which was fantastic. I mean, Aang did the same thing in his series, right? Like he didn't kill Ozai, he just took away his bending.
Yeah, but also convinced Kuvira to change her ways as opposed to stopping Ozai.
That's fair.
Oh, but besides just comparing it to that though, I mean, just this series is the one with her seeing Aang and getting her spirit powers. What happened in season 2 finale was, I don't even remember what the hell.
She gave a speech about after
this is the beginning of a new era for them, and then season 3, Jesus Christ,
it is the beginning of a new era.
and this season finale.
I think
season 3 was the one where with the giant. Oh, that's right, Unavatu, right?
No, that was season 2. Season 3 was Jinora became an airbending master, and Korra was paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah.
I think this was the most satisfying of the endings. Season 1 had, I feel like, a very good satisfying ending.
Yeah.
Because it was originally meant to be just the one. Season 2 was the weaker of them because I felt like there was more was going to happen. And season 3 was, while it wasn't the most satisfying, I think is the best because it was the most emotional, because it was the birth of a new nation and the rebirth of the air, this air traditions next to the Avatar crying, paralyzed, broken.
Yeah, I was gonna. Going off of that, I was gonna say, for my comparison before we go to Ben's first time seeing this thing. I will say that season 4 is my favorite of the entire series, as I said repeatedly since season 2. But I think the season 3 finale had a much more devastating emotional impact on me. And before we go into Ben's stuff, I want to say the original series finale. Him taking out Ozai, Aang taking out Ozai, and that whole fight sequence was very intense and crazy, beautiful fight. I personally was most emotionally destroyed by Azula, his entire mental breakdown and losing to Zuko, and then her being captured and screaming and just losing her mind. That almost had me in tears from that finale, and that destroyed me utterly. But more than the actual Aang ending up with Katara and them kissing and going on about their lives. This finale, I also was equally so happy for everyone in the series and everyone's ending, everyone getting wrapped up, that I was also equally as emotionally upset by that. But yeah, 3, that's always going to be my number 1 finale because that fucking destroyed me. So that was the most intense thing I've ever seen. It was your protagonist is completely destroyed and mentally just exhausted and depressed and paralyzed, and these incredibly happy things happening. And it was just that was just way more a huge punch. But I did like this finale more than the original. This one hit me more. I was more excited, happy and sad for this one than for Aang's ending.
It was more complete, I think, because I think overall fight. I mean, it was the 4 episodes. I think the fight between Aang and Ozai was better choreographed overall.
Yeah.
Because it was a one-on-one.
Animated much more pretty, yeah.
It was very pretty, the Zuko Azula was, that was near flawless.
Yeah.
Only issue is I wish it was longer. It was a little less cut, but like the lack of music was really, it was so well done. And everything. Even the Toph, Suki, and Sokka part was really well done. It was a nice little cuts in. But after Ozai is defeated, it just felt like it was, all right, time to finish up. Mm-hmm. Zuko's speech was the best part of that. Mm-hmm. I felt like with this one, the ending was more complete. We saw the full transformation. It was the continued growth. Aang's journey was just so much lesser comparatively to Korra's. And this wrapped up. It had the fight. It had the emotion. It had the reconnections. It had the finalities. It even had the same, ends with the two, the protagonists finding their love. But it also wasn't the same way. You always knew that Aang and Katara were going to end up together. Like, that was what we all expected. No one in season 1 or even season 2 thought that... Yeah. No one legitimately thought that
shippers,
Korra,
of course.
Shippers always think everyone's going to end with everyone. But no one was like, this is canonically going to happen, where Korra and Asami are going to connect and become a couple. Yeah. And you didn't even get a sense of that almost until season 4, in the beginning. But then you look back on it and you see...
the creators said, the creators said that they had an idea for that as early as season 1, but they never got around to it because they assumed Nick would never, ever, ever allow that. And so they just, canned it for the rest of the entire series. Before we go into that whole very important aspect of it,
but I would say I felt like that when that finally happened, when that was confirmed, and it happens in the final, it's like this long journey. This these two people who were friends, they became they were like little rivals. Then they became friends, and then they became really good friends to the point where that was her closest friend, to the point of discovering who she was, and then just coming together was much more satisfying than Aang and Katara just kissing to me.
Yeah. Now finally you've had all that time to think about this series.
I've had over a year to think about this.
Yeah.
Oh boy. See, of course the answer is at the beginning, but where do I begin?
No, of course.
Okay, so to answer your question earlier, I don't really think of it as the season 4 ending. I don't think that's necessarily fair, because not only is it the wrap up of season 4, but it's the wrap up of an entire series. Yeah. So if I'm gonna be honest, I agree that one of the most impactful endings to any of the seasons was season 3. Korra had been through so much different things, and now I had the Blu-ray, so I knew there was a season 4. But for some of you guys who watched it on television, on actual television, you guys had to watch that. You had to watch Korra sitting, watching this, being paralyzed, crying. Who knew? Nobody knew that there was going to be a season 4. I mean, they kind of built up a little bit for it.
I think we did know about season 4, but you still don't know what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean,
and you're like, it's one of those how are you going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that is devastating. And in a strange way, not a morbid way, but a strange way, it's kind of a beautiful ending, too, because, the biggest threat, who literally poisoned her, they're all taken care of. Not necessarily. I think the only one who lived was all three of the 4 are gone and dead, but the main one is captured. Jinora finally got to be an airbending master, and it was just all beautiful. It was tragic. It was sad. It was a lot of things. I know on the show I did think when we were on season 2, I'm like, this was a good season. Now that I've watched all 4 seasons, I've seen this entire series, season 2 was definitely the weakest entry. A lot of Deus Ex Machina going on. The villain was textbook villain, really. Textbook political villain, I should say.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, they said Unalak's motives never felt
Right, yeah.
I think vaguely what they were going for was like a theocratic, like religious angle, but the show is so vague on religion the whole time. But like his whole aspect was spirituality, leading through getting the Water Tribe more spiritual, literally controlling spirits. But like if they went more explicit with like a very zealot like angle with him, it would have been better.
See, I still say that if Unalaq had that, because to me it was because he was so invested in Vaatu that when Vaatu and him merge, if there was just that slight look of on his face where he realized that he had been tricked. Yeah. And almost, to be that cultish kind of thing, I feel like that would have made his character better.
It would have, yeah.
If because it made no sense.
Yeah, his motivations were really vague. But
And let me ask you guys something. Does anyone here think that the series would have been just as good, if not better, if Season 2 just didn't exist?
No. I do not think that, because there are a few important things that happened.
1 episodes.
Well, first off, you got introduced to Julie and Varric. Like, they actually got introduced. If you just started with Season 3 with Varric just, like, hey, I'm breaking out of prison.
Wait, Varric and Julie weren't in Season 1?
No, they were in Season 2.
Oh.
Yeah, because Asami met with Varric down in the South Pole because Future Industries was really hurting after her dad's involvement with Equalists.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was going to say, before you go off the rest of your points, Ben, I was going to say, Chris, I'm not a fan of it personally, but it was an immense amount of information and displaying of abilities for Water Tribe. It was like all Water Tribe people. It was a ton of really cool bending. A lot of water bending fights, of course. Yeah, Ed's over here dancing. But it was a lot of like actually seeing their political structure with the brothers and how he got his brother kicked out and all their whole aspects. Was the Spirit Portal new, or was that like addressed in the original series?
That was going to be one of my points, actually.
I don't remember.
The portals were always
they're closed, though, right?
They were closed because Juan closed them.
Yeah, but they were there.
Yeah, they were always there, but Juan had closed them.
Yeah, but it was like a big show for the like how the Season 4 was a big show for earthbending, and Season 3 was for airbending, obviously. But that was a huge like show for Water Tribe. It took entirely like all of it was the blue and white of the Water Tribe. It was a really different look for the series too, compared to the first one, which was in the city the whole time.
Yeah,
so,
but not only what he just said, like with the whole like spirit portal thing, because in Season 3, that's how Season 3 starts, with Korra trying to get like the whole spirit and real like and physical world. I'll just call it that for now. Like to get balanced with that, but. How with the Season 4, like with Korra doing the spirit bending thing, yeah, you could say, okay, maybe it's the Avatar state, but it was introduced in Season 2. I mean, as much as Unalaq is a horrible individual, he did teach Korra that.
Yeah.
And that was highly important. Now, like Matt said, it was a horrible season compared to the other ones.
Yeah, a good season of television, of course, but compared to those seasons.
But there were a lot of important things. Rather than just like you can't just like write all of it out. It could have maybe been like implemented somehow differently, perhaps not its own like actual season, or like Ed said, there's like details that could have made it improved.
Make Unalaq better. Would have been the main
which
issue.
I feel like that was the biggest issue. Is Unalaq and his
motives,
very
motives
motive,
and everything. Yeah. Like Vaatu and Unalaq, they just felt too much. Replaceable.
Yeah, and like none of us but other fans. Another reason of disliking that season is because of the whole situation of the origin of the powers, like we talked about, and the introduction of Unalaq or of Vaatu and what's the light spirit? Rava and Vaatu. People didn't like that aspect of it. Or
I like that.
Yeah, see, I did too. I like getting to learn about Juan, the first Avatar, and knowing that it's not just I have to learn all of these powers and stuff. Like knowing that there was an origin that had to do with like a deeper connection with the Avatar being Rava, the spirit, and how she's constantly, the whole light and dark, yin and yang thing. I like that I kind of like that aspect, honestly. I agree with you, Ed. I've been saying that a lot this episode, but no, I agree with you. The weakest part of Season 2 was just the vagueness of
the villainy.
The villainy, and just. And once the whole like merge between him and Vaatu happened, rather than him being like, "Oh crap, I actually bit off more than I could chew," or just something like that, it was just like, "Yes, take me." It's like, no.
I don't remember
no.
what happened. I assume he died in an explosion. What the hell happened to Unavatu?
He gets, she does the spirit
Oh,
thing.
trapped in the tree again?
No, she does the spirit bending with the water around him, and he disappears into lights.
Okay. So he's presumably dead.
Yeah. But yeah, and also, too, again, I will go on and say for all time, why would he call himself the Dark Avatar? Call himself the True Avatar. That's another thing. Why?
Yeah, actually, very.
This whole thing was about Ben.
That's why Kuvira was so much better. She wasn't like
she believed in herself, and
she wasn't. We're not gonna take over. We're taking back the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah.
We're not taking over the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah.
We're reclaiming our land. We're not stealing the land.
Yeah.
Her motivation was put into a way that to her she was a hero.
Yeah.
She was, even though she was a villain, and when she was confronted with it, that's what made her change her ways.
Yeah, and she her whole besides the actual
Hitoshi did the same thing.
the motives. It was actually like I was abandoned. And Sue abandoned the city just like I was, and I'm not going to let that happen. It was like she had great motives explicitly. Freaking the Red Lotus, don't even get started on them. They're all great. Yes. But like. Yeah, but the whole point of this was Ben. Season finale comparisons.
Yeah,
we got lost in the weeds of season 2.
Well,
great question. It was too good of a question, Chris.
It was a really good question, and we needed to discuss that.
Like that was like in a nutshell. That was more or less my impression of season 2 as well. It's like I liked it, but I feel like it was more about like setting up a lot of infrastructure and a lot of like just setting up a bunch of characters and that's a lot of setting, a lot of lore, which would then later go on to feed season 3 and 4 and be really, really good.
Mm-hmm. But now let's get to the what would have been the actual season finale, season 1. Because when we were first doing the show and you guys told me that it was only supposed to be 1 season long, I could definitely see that. It was a different twist on the whole Avatar. Like, it wasn't like save the world. It was, try to balance out, non-benders with benders. There was a whole lot of, slight anarchy with, hey, we're non-benders. Benders, think they're so great kind of thing. I kind of liked that, battle between, which one's better, which one's not, when really, and let's be honest, Amon was really well fleshed out. Not just because it was Steve Bloom as the voice actor.
That does help.
Yeah, it helps. But just the fact that he actually had a great motive. And then at the very end of it all, when he does that one thing, that one bending in the water, where his mask falls off and you find out his wound was actually fake. It just took one tiny thing for it all to just crumble on down. Mm-hmm. I like that. Now, to season 4, the main question. As a finale, yeah, season 4, you got through so much going on. You're good. You got through so much. I mean, started off strong. Cora, it picks up years after Cora was paralyzed and she's moving again. So it's like, yay, great, wonderful. How are you doing that with the Mercury? That's not the point. The point is, this is great. You actually get to see, because at the season finale of 3, one of the things that happened was you were introduced to Kuvira. Mm-hmm. It was only a name drop.
Yeah, well, like I said, she was with Sue in the training area in Zaofu the entire season of 3.
I did.
Yeah, she was just doing the dancing and everything with everybody else, with all the other soldiers there. She was just there in the scene, already modeled and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pointed that out, and I did actually go back and watch that just to see if I could point. Yeah, she definitely is in the background, and then she gets the name drop, and now you get to see why she's so important. Why that one tiny. Oh, by the way, I'm Kuvira. Why that was so important. And, like Ed has already stated so many times, in my opinion, the best villain in any of the Avatar series. She was strong, she was determined, she didn't care, she wanted to get her thing done. And she was willing to sacrifice everything for that. Mm-hmm. And then, it all wraps up nicely. A new spirit portal appears. Kuvira and Korra took a lot of convincing, obviously, but Kuvira finally saw the error of her ways. Varric and Julie. My second favorite character and first favorite power couple. Come on. And like you guys were talking about with the whole, like, you know, it may not have gotten through, like, the censors or, like, you know, we actually got to see I'm not going to say the first in animated, but a very important, like, you know, same gender relationship, pretty much, with Asami and Korra. And I think it was either you, Ed, or you, Matt, but through season 1, they just started out as kind of rival. And then, you know, we actually got to see their friendship bloom throughout. It wasn't like, what? This came out of left field? No, it made sense. Now, compared to original Avatar, The Last Airbender, yes, beautifully choreographed scenes, like Zuka and Azulu. I almost said that. Zuko and Azula.
I think it's canonically now Zuka and Azulu.
What have I done?
Also, our next D&D game is going to feature Zuka and Azulu.
Wait, yours or mine?
I don't know.
I was going to say, because I can do it. Anyway, like, I actually agree with you, Ed. If it lasted longer between those two, because they had a whole lot of history with each other.
Yeah.
If their fight was longer than, say, Ozai and Aang by, like, even like a minute or like even like 30 seconds, it would have been great because they had more of a history with each other. Aang, don't get me wrong, it was very important that Aang had to stop the Fire Lord. It was very important, and those scenes were choreographed great too. I mean, like Ozai flying around with the fire bending, which I didn't know was a thing until he started doing that. And it was great, it was beautiful. We even got the side characters, you know, destroying the blimps. Destroying the one thing, Sokka destroying the one thing he created. We've mentioned that a few times, I know that. But I actually felt a stronger connection with Zuko and Azula because, you know, they actually butted heads a lot more than just Zuko, you know, getting burned by his dad. They actually... I don't like Azula.
How dare you.
As much as you.
Podcast's over. Turn the mic off. Everyone get out. Everyone get out of Chris's apartment.
You didn't hear me fully.
Yeah.
I said, not as much as you. As a villain, she was way better than Ozai.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Ozai was voiced by Mark Hamill, so of course he had to be the main bad guy. But she had so much going on with her. So like the Zuko and Azula fight had more of an impact on me than even than even Aang and Ozai.
Mm-hmm. That's why, yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean,
we had a history with Azula. We had 2 extra seasons of character development to see her and what she could do. Or Ozai was always just mentioned and discussed, and we didn't even see him, I think, until season 4.
Yeah,
right. And
or season 3.
There are 3 seasons.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You know, you're
the last season.
Yeah. Wait, no, we saw him at the end of season 2 because
he barely talked.
The day of No Sun.
Oh sure, but I mean, point being, there were only 3 seasons of the original.
Yeah, point being, we never got any character from him.
Yeah, okay, no, you're right. You're right.
He was just an evil face.
Yeah, but, literally no. Well, yeah, in the comics he gets fleshed out, but like there's 0 to him compared to any of the villains in the Korra.
Which I was thinking another great thing about season 4 was like I know it wasn't these set of 4, but like when she goes and sees Zahir, when she talks to Toph, like, what did you learn from your foes? Like I felt like the foes were so much better because
Absolutely.
I mean, even Unalaq aside, even, you know, he still had some bits of him that were, you could see where he was coming from with the spirituality of it, but all of them were heroic in their own mindset. Amon was trying to remove bending because of the elitism.
Yeah.
You know, the spirituality of Unalaq. You know, you saw what the Earth Kingdom became with everything, trying to recover from the war and without a leadership.
Yeah.
You know, or trying to desperately cling to that leadership in that sense. But then the reverse in season 4, like every villain is heroic in their own sense, but the way they're getting to it is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That was one thing I liked about Legend of Korra more than Avatar: The Last Airbender was each of the villains, like Toph said, like you said, it's like, yeah, they each were good, sort of, like in their own mindset and like the view of the people, they just went about it the wrong way.
It was the extremism, and ironically, the extremism was what Korra was at first. She was so overly emotional because she was so gung ho about becoming the Avatar that she didn't see the extremism of being the Avatar as a problem until later on. Even then, when she's like, when they even talked about the spirit vines early in that one episode, it's like, no, early on, I would agreed with you, but we can't just do that because it seems like it's the easiest thing.
Right. And that's the biggest thing about Legend of Korra and Avatar for me. Why I think Legend of Korra is better. We've talked a bit about it, but yeah, Korra is most definitely a better Avatar than Aang. Because one of the points that was brought up was Aang was, for lack of better terms, he was like a Buddhist monk. Peace. I need to find peaceful solutions. And he kept that throughout the entirety. The biggest thing he had was like him trying to change those views, which he never did. Like he always was confronted with those choices that he could have done, but he didn't really change. He just stuck with his morals. Korra, started off as a little kid being like, look at me, I'm the Avatar, biatch.
I'm the Avatar, you gotta deal with it.
Yep. And she was like really bombastic, really like emotional. Like she would have easily killed people, like if she wanted to, because she had all that power. Yeah. And then as seasons progressed, things happened to her. She learned more, and she started growing, and you actually got to see that growth. You got to be with her most of that time with her growth, and up to season 4, where rather than killing Kuvira, she saved her.
You could say that Korra is kind of like the embodiment of the concept of we are the product of our experiences.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's actually very good, Chris.
Yeah, she's went through a lot, and she changes the character as a result, like directly every single season. That was one of the things I looked up. Yeah, the creator said that they wanted her to learn from every single encounter she had and change every season because of what happened in the previous time or whatever experiences she had beforehand. Mm-hmm. That's why she's such an amazing character to follow over this series. Yeah.
So finally answering your question, because I had to take the very long way to going it. I definitely liked it. It was a lot stronger, even with the Avatar: The Last Airbender ended with a kiss, and then the whole Asami and Korra thing. Yeah. Legend of Korra is most definitely the better season finale, than Aang's season finale, and just. I feel like we need a separate episode just so we can just talk a lot.
Well, we practically have like a double episode.
Yeah, I was just about to say we're hitting about 2 hours right now.
Our last one of our other ones was that long, but yeah,
yeah, 4 of us, so that's half hour each.
Of course. Korra is absolutely wonderful, a character, absolutely amazing as a TV show. Yeah, it was. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
For this final thoughts for you viewers is, Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, you should give it at least one watch.
Even if you listen to us describe every episode for hours on end,
well,
still listen to it.
Because you always have some of those who this is their first episode they love. Just yes, please. Or go watch it again since you listened to, the 4 of us, mostly 2 of us over here, just gush and talk about Legend of Korra and how great they are. Rewatch this now that you have a better understanding. Now that you had 4 nerds here sitting at a table, just talking about this, gushing about it, and breaking down a whole lot of things. Now maybe you have a new understanding. Either way, go watch this, please.
Oh, absolutely.
It is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. But now we've talked about
it, rewatch it, watch it with your kids,
Yeah.
watch it with your family, watch it with your grandma, your neighbor, the hobo down the street, watch it with everybody.
Grab everybody you know and watch it again. It's a great series.
It really is.
Support it.
Yeah, try to get new people into this.
Of course. But the other thing I want to talk about, of course, is the relationship between Asami and Korra at the end of the series. being a admitted, a walk so that other shows like Steven Universe and Owl House and our other series we're covering, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, could run with LGBTQIA representation and queer relationships in animation like that. This was a huge step on the part of the team. And it was a great, first step for that kind of representation. It was great. It was just,
Even if it only was for like a handful of seconds. Right?
Yeah, and it wasn't anything like overly explicit. Those other, like I said, that this show walked so those other series could run when they are like way more explicit and more like expressive about the whole relationships. It was a great step forward for animation.
It really was. Yeah.
It was probably just enough to get the conversation started.
Absolutely.
And once the conversation started rolling more it was the ideas were brought to light and I guess like Steven Universe was just like, you know what? Why shouldn't this be normal?
Yeah.
I will say I actually think that the fact that they didn't kiss is stronger than if they had, because the growth of the two characters and the connection grew, so organically that I felt like the moment when they held hands and looked at each other was the moment that they truly knew together that they wanted to be a couple and be together. Yeah. And you don't just walk up and get that moment and then you kiss somebody. It's, of course. No. Yeah, it'd be crazy. I mean, just the tenderness of that. I felt, again, it felt, the kiss worked for Katara and Aang because they already had those moments where they felt like they could be together and all that. But Asami and Korra, I felt like also, too, just the realization that this is what we both want. Yeah. This is where we both are at, that our connection is this strong. Yes, it would have been nice to have further, and the fact that there were limitations at the time sucks. But I'd argue that this was a more real moment. Yeah,
and it absolutely gets developed a lot more in the comics, which pick up the second they get in the portal and start their vacation together. We actually get to see their relationship start and how they actually become a real couple. You've read the comics?
I've read Turf War, yeah.
Yeah, and then they go on to come back out of the portal and explain to everybody the status of their relationship and how everything... And this is when we find out more stuff like Kyoshi also having a female love interest, like in her book series. But they mentioned that in the comic for Korra, that Kyoshi was also bi, I believe. And then they also vaguely hint that Kaya, Aang's daughter, maybe...
Right, yeah. I can't remember hearing about
that. It's not explicit, but it's like she mentioned. So she's like, I don't know if it was Ozai or the Fire Lord before, but he did ban same-sex relationships in the Fire Nation. But then, Kyoshi had a number of male and female.
Azulan was before.
Azulan, maybe. I don't know if it was Ozai or Azulan, but Kyoshi did have relationships with men and women, we find out. And then, Kaya vaguely hinted at. But, everyone is very accepting. Of course, Mako is very, of course,
it's really... I was going to say, Mako and Korra's dad were both because Mako was confused, was more of the friend who's I want to support, but I'm confused. The dad started off as coming across as, this is different, this is weird, but in the end he's actually look, I'm sorry about all of that strangeness, I support you, I support this because I like, and that's a lot of it is, I mean, obviously there's a deeper story, there's a villain and stuff like that, and there's some other stuff, but
it's an amazing story. But one of what that spirit portal in the middle of the city does, because some random merchant says, I own this portal, this is my stand was right here and I own the land here, so this is my portal and I own it. It's just a ton of crazy stuff. And then people start turning into half spirits, like those people during Wan's time.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that series besides just their relationship. It's a great comic and everyone should pick it up. But it does explicitly more go into their relationship that the creators wanted to go into when they were doing the series.
And I like also it goes to that, but it also mainly goes into how everyone else reacts to it. Yeah. And how actually very positive. Bolin is immediately accepting of it. It's Bolin.
See, Mako was confused kind of thing and didn't know how to feel, right?
Well, I would be. You should.
I will actually say. So I want to say that I dated somebody who had after I and her dated. She at the time, or I guess he now. They've transitioned, and they were figuring out themselves. And I will say that the thing I've kind of come to grips, because this was over a decade ago, the thing I've learned that I didn't realize back at the time is that it's not about me, so it's not about Mako. You know? And that's the hardest thing to come to grips. So I will say that if anyone ever, if you have an ex or a relationship with somebody and they've transitioned, they've, come out as bisexual or homosexual or any form, a different sexuality than hetero, it's not about you. They didn't change because of you. They didn't transition because of you. They didn't, or whatever. It's not about you. And it's hard to almost feel like that because you don't understand it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, when he said Mako was confused about it, it's like, I've been through that, and I still don't fully understand, but at the end of the day, it's not about me. Yeah. It's about him. It's about his decisions and his realizations.
Yeah, that's why that's why representation matters.
Yeah, like you didn't cause them to transition. This is something they've been struggling with for likely several years, if not their entire life.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why the representation that this series definitely kicked off is incredibly important.
Yes, it is very important.
But yeah, this series, I absolutely loved it. I love Korra. I love the freaking comics and everything. I wish the studio would do more explicit things. Who knows with Paramount Plus what's going to happen with the future of the series? I'm hoping we get some more
because I've looked into the history about some of the previous avatars and just the previous water avatar, learning about his story is honestly, I think, is another great untold story.
What's his name? I forgot it.
Kirluk?
I forgot, but it's important because he's literally right before Kyoshi, and all you hear about in the first Kyoshi book is what an absolute drunken, gambling loser idiot he was. And Kyoshi's just absolutely embarrassed, and it's just nobody respects him because everyone raising Kyoshi is literally his group that was with him when he died very young.
He died super young.
Yeah, all of his people are in their 40s when they're raising Kyoshi, saying we were with him and we saw him be an idiot. But then in the second book, you realize he was going through some real shit between spirit stuff that he was didn't want to get any of his friends involved with, and so that's why he came off as such an idiot because he was getting destroyed internally by all the spirit battles he was having.
He also was covering up for the Yang Chen, I believe her name was. The air avatar. Before.
She really messed up the spirit kingdom.
She really screwed up things and did. Basically, she pulled an Ancient One from the MCU. I mean, without giving too many spoilers, but kind of covering it. Yeah, she did that. He fixed her errors. He hid her errors. He took on all this weight. Yeah, and he was such a loser because it was the only vice he had. Yeah. To get himself to the next day.
And then Kyoshi, of course, is a very intense character. Her books are wonderful. Again, I'll keep pushing them. But every Avatar's had a ton going on. That's why Korra is so fascinating. Aang was fascinating. I'd still love to know more about his adulthood.
Yes.
And stuff like
that.
Listen,
I will say that Korra is always better than Aang, and Aang is not that great of an Avatar, but he was still not a bad character at all.
Right, yeah. He was a fun character. He was a great character.
Yeah.
Not the best Avatar. Of the few we know, I'd say he's almost near the bottom.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that.
Well, with the
Korra did more in 2 seasons to change the world than Aang did in his entire life.
Yeah, just like Tenzin told her at the very end of it.
But there's also all the comic events and stuff we got to go over sometime soon. But anyway, Avatar is an amazing series. I'm so glad you guys could join us, Chris.
Yes, I'm very happy that you two could join us again.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was great.
I should thank you for having us over, Chris.
Oh yeah, because we're at your place this time.
Yeah. Do you want to? Oh, well, since I don't know if we announced it in our finale for Young Justice, our other series, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Yeah, well, see, that was your series.
Yeah, that was my series.
So that's
why. This show has been Ben's selection, so now we're finishing this. It's time for Ben to select our next secondary series for our second season. Of Action Toon Bros.
There's no need to build it up so much. I've had over a year to stew about this one. But yeah, I wanted to take a different turn from Avatar, and this time I wanted to choose a show that Matt hasn't actually seen. And now, because a year's done, it finally completed itself, because at the time it didn't. We're going to cover next time Netflix's Castlevania series. And I am going to give you guys this warning to any of you viewers. Not necessarily for the faint of heart, because it is we're going from a Nickelodeon show to literally blood and gore and stuff, because there's going to be a lot of that. But especially for those of you who are fans of the video game series, it is a really good adaptation.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so next time is gonna be She-Ra. We already released an episode of She-Ra.
At this point, not yet. No.
Not yet. Well, either way,
after this will be our first She-Ra.
Yeah, we were. Oh no! Behind the scenes.
We said in our previously recorded episode for Young Justice, I think.
Yeah. But either way, we're gonna be doing She-Ra and we're gonna be doing Castlevania. It's going to be a shorter one, Castlevania, but it's still going to be a trip and a half. I hope all of you enjoy it. And once again, Ed, Chris, thank you for being on this show. Thank you for joining me on my journey throughout Legend of Korra, since this was my first time actually watching through it. If anyone came up to me and said, "Hey, you should have done it. You should have watched it with me," I'd slap them in the face and say, "No, these three right here. They got to join me throughout it all." So,
Heck yeah.
I will say before we wrap up, one of my favorite moments was when I was watching the season 1 season finale. It was with you and Leanne. Both of you just yelled, "Don't look at the chapter select." I'm just like, okay, why? Watch the final episode. You're like, yeah, the tag for the final episode had this in it. You shouldn't have watched it because it had this in it. I'm like, okay, good. I get it. I get it now.
What was the tag?
It was Aang. It was like Aang with like his spirit look.
Aang showing up.
It was like Aang. It was like something really like, don't look at this or else it's spoilers kind of thing. But either way, yeah, we should probably wrap this up now.
Yep, time to wrap this up. Probably our longest episode. What's this sitting at?
We're almost at 2 hours 10.
Nice. All right. Well, I think the Rise of Skywalker is probably our longest episode. Almost as long as.
Yeah, well, that was a cheat because that wasn't animated.
Yeah. All right. Plugs. Plugs.
So, I guess I'll go first. You can find me on Twitter at @EdBobincheck. You can also find me as Ed_Bobincheck, I believe. Also at Movie Garbage. And speaking of which, coming soon, finally, after this extremely long hiatus, we are going to be kicking back off Movie Garbage. We're going to be watching the movie that we originally had hoped to release with Resident Evil 3 remake.
Yeah, back in 2018.
However, we're now going to be doing Resident Evil Apocalypse, right? Apocalypse?
Yeah, I think it's
the second one overall.
Apocalypse may be the third. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was either one.
It's the second. It's going to be the second Resident Evil movie to help with the release of Resident Evil 8 not too long ago.
Yeah, coincide with that.
So, and also, talking about a movie involving a disease that transfers, all that. We're still getting through some things, so we'll try to end up all that with this.
Oh yeah.
And we'll have more Movie Garbage coming soon, so
heck yeah,
be sure to tune in for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you'd like to think that during this hiatus I would have some plugs, but no, I don't. Chris, your shameless plugs.
Okay, my shameless plugs are I basically don't use social media, so you can't really find me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess it's just me that Matthew Lewis Podcast. Matthew Lewis 89 is my private Twitter. My book, The Forgotten Minotaur King, based off my podcast, The Forgotten Minotaur King, is available now on Amazon. Check it out. Also, Movie Garbage, of course. This podcast, the Matthew Lewis Podcast YouTube. I don't even know my Instagram, probably something Matthew Lewis. And those are my pluggy plugs. Check them out. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out my Twitch if I ever stream again. Probably sometime soon. I have a lot of stuff I gotta play. So, that's our stuff. That's our show.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a trip, but...
Join us for our second season, which seems to be exclusively 2 Netflix series.
Unfortunately, but you could be smart and ask your friends for a Netflix or other things too.
Of course. Now, time to clock out of the show as we always do.
Kuvira's Gambit.
Yeah, Kuvira's Gambit, everybody.
But
of course,
from us to you,
keep it sleazy.
Kuvira's Gambit.
Kuvira's Gambit.